Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
This summer will be the most fun and safest with swim lessons from British Swim School. Offering swim lessons to babies and kids across the U.S., British Swim School gives you the confidence to let your little ones enjoy pools and lakes safely. British Swim School has highly trained instructors who specialize in fun and gentle teaching in a small class environment. Sign up for classes now at BritishSwimSchool.com. That's BritishSwimSchool.com. British Swim School. Make a splash.
Attention shoppers, we now have taste in the bread aisle. Dave's Killer Bread. That's right, an organic bread that's no longer a sedative for your taste buds. Dave's Killer Bread is on a mission to make the most of the loaf, to rid the world of GMOs, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial ingredients, and plant the seeds of good in all that they bake. Killer taste, killer texture, and always organic. Dave's Killer Bread. Bread amplified.
When you're struggling with your mental health, the world can seem pretty heavy, like no one understands what you're feeling, or you're not sure how to ask for help. But here's the real truth. You're never in this alone. 988 Lifeline's trained crisis counselors are available 24/7 to offer the help and support you need to make it through. No judgment, no stigma, just someone to listen. Text or call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, day or night. 988. Hope has a new number.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Gen Exhausted. I'm Chris.
I'm Rich.
I'm Jess.
And hey, you ready for the big Fox News trial? Oh, wait, it's not happening.
Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't know much about it at all. I saw a CNN response to it. So was it like for slander and libel against Dominion?
Believe it was for Dominion saying, hey, you talk some shit about our voting machines and they work just fine, so we're suing you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And then the outcome of that was
the start of the trial was delayed one date and then it was settled. The result of it was Rupert Murdoch threw some money at it and it went away.
Gotcha. The only thing I've seen about it popped up on like my Instagram feed, I think, and it was a CNN reporter talking about how like he was reading the statement from Fox and he's like, I'm gonna have a really hard time getting through this with a straight face. Just give me a minute. They're saying they're dedicated to upholding the highest truth.
Like you are, anyway.
Right?
You think you are, but you don't. Continue.
That was really it. That's
oh, really? No, he was just being a smug dick.
Yes.
Oh, shocking
exactly.
for a CNN news personality.
No, that was the whole thing of it. So I knew something had happened, but I just don't care. I wish I cared. I don't care. The Dominion thing, I mean, a lot of things have been said. No one's getting in trouble over, we're CNN being sued over saying Russian disinformation every time something doesn't go the way they want it to, Yeah,
I believe one of their anchors is in the clip that goes around on YouTube saying that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Right.
That is misinformation. Actually, isn't that disinformation? Isn't it the one that's on purpose? No, misinformation's the one that's on purpose, right?
Oh, have we categoriized them differently now?
Yeah, we talked about it before. One's on purpose and one is you're an idiot, basically.
Right. Gotcha. Did you see, you said it, so I'm just going to throw this in here real quick. Did you see that they have stopped using the original Pfizer and Moderna vaccines?
No, I didn't.
So there's I might be butchering the way that I'm saying it, but there was a monolevant vaccine that was the original one that you had to get 2 shots of for it to be considered a complete vaccine. And then there was the booster, and that was the bilevant Pfizer or Moderna COVID vaccine. So now they have stopped allowing the use of the original one, the 2-shot series, and they're saying they're just moving it over to the bilevant one. Which sounds innocent enough.
I feel like you're just making shit up now.
Well, here's the thing. as an OG conspiracy theorist, whenever they came out and said that the Pfizer and Moderna were FDA approved, they were never FDA approved. They were only approved under emergency use authorization. It was a different one. It starts with a C, and I butcher the way that it's said. It's like camaraderie or something. I don't have it in front of me, but it starts with a C and ends with a Y. And that's the one that was actually FDA approved, but we don't have it in the United States. No one's gotten that one to my knowledge. But it has no relation to Pfizer or Moderna. And their emergency use authorization was set to expire in April of 2023 for the original two. So now you have the bivalent one, which is the booster, which they say is like a half dose, and it's for more strains and all that. This is all some very tinfoil hatty stuff, but everything I'm telling you is true. But the thought process is that they just lost their emergency use authorization. And then this one, they'll either have to get it actually FDA approved, like the other one is, or it'll end up expiring when whatever, I don't know what the time frame of emergency use authorization on a vaccine is, but eventually the emergency use authorization will expire on that one too, and they'll have to find another one to go to. So just some interesting, weird, that just came out last night. Now, you know, Yeah, just all weird behind the scenes stuff, you know?
See, I didn't get my shot. No, I feel. Hey, first you need 2. Now you need 2 and 2 boosters. Now you need this booster to guard against this variant. It's at some point it sounds like you're just making shit up to keep selling shots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today I had to go to Yahoo to log into my email, and I get to their front page. And they're like, new variant of Omicron and blah 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 and all, and I'm just like, oh my god, really, guys? Who the fuck is like acting like that? I mean, they were acting like, oh my god, this is the one. This is going to be the one that throws us into the biblical book of Revelation. And I'm just going, who the fuck is still getting that hyped up about this shit?
I, honest to God, saw that. I think it's the same article you're talking about, because a friend of mine on Instagram posted it, not being satirical at all, saying, oh, I've been putting off getting my booster. I guess it's time I schedule my appointment. And I'm like, really? People still do this?
Yeah, I ain't had a shot for 2 years, and I ain't never going to have one again.
Well,
but anyway, like I said, I'm sitting in a doctor's office earlier this year, and he's giving me the hard sell on how I need to get this booster shot. And I'm trying to be as polite as possible and tell him, no, I'm good, man. And finally, I'm just like, look here, man. The politicians who okayed this shit and the people who sit on the boards and in the shareholders and shit, they made sure that they didn't have to get this fucking shot or any of these boosters. Yeah. So why don't you explain that to me? Because, because I should have said it at the time, but as it is, I was prescribed heartburn medication by doctors for 20 years. It comes out, oh, that causes cancer. I mean, it's a class action lawsuit. It's not much recourse, but it's some. Mm-hmm. But I mean, still, I'll probably never see a dime from it. Ever fucking at all. And I am a prime candidate to get, outside of people who actually developed cancer from it. But I mean, to be prescribed it for 20 fucking years, that's pretty fucking reckless and careless on their part. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and that's something that's just like trivial to most people. That's not even this fucking shot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, hey, but aren't you scared you're going to die? Not that much.
Not a COVID.
I got other shit. I'm more worried about killing my ass than COVID. Sorry. I'm glad you don't. I'm glad that you figured everything out.
See people in public in full face regalia. I'm like, I get it. You're liberal. Because hey, aren't you supposed to follow the science? The science says you must have COVID because that should be the only reason you're wearing that right now.
It's showing basic human respect to others. As I call everyone assholes and cocksuckers for not putting a mask on and showing basic human respect to others.
What a wild time. What a wild fucking time we lived through. And it's just crazy to me that anyone is still carrying the same like 2020 energy into 2023.
They're still out there. There are still people out there.
Yes, there are.
I can't believe it, but there are.
A lot of older people. Like I said, here in the Metro Detroit area, it usually skews this way. Older people and black people.
See, we have, it's my age, white women here that are like clinging on to this. And I'm like, what are you afraid of?
Are they overweight?
No.
Because like older people, I kind of get, and a lot of the people that I do see like that I wouldn't consider like older. I don't know. I guess like what? If you look 60 or older, I'm marking you as older. Anything younger than that, but to be fair, a lot of people I do see wearing masks that are younger than like let's say 60, they're overweight, and I mean like by not a little bit either. And I'm assuming, well, they probably have other fucking problems brought about by the fact that they are that overweight. And I mean, it might be a legit concern. Maybe their doctor was like, hey, look, here's the deal. You get it. You said there's no guarantee that you're coming out of the hospital.
Right.
You're a walking nightmare of comorbidities. But when you see like literally a family and none of the adults are wearing a mask, but the fucking kids who are all like 7 and under are wearing masks and shit, and it's just
people
like
at the least risk.
Yeah.
I'm like, I said, it don't even make fucking sense to me anymore. What do you do? The parents aren't, grandma and grandpa who's walking with the parents aren't, but the gaggle of children, the gaggle of crotch goblins and cum fucking dumpster or cum trophies that are following them around, yeah, they're all fucking. They're slathered in Purell and covered in head to toe in PPE.
No, like grandma and grandpa should be rolling like 2020. If you look at the numbers, if you look at who died, if you look at who dies, that's who should be taking the precautions.
Absolutely. Now here's something that most people probably won't consider, and if you bring it up, they'll go, "Why are you even thinking about that? That's stupid," because it's not just how most people are, but. You are definitely, if you are that type of parent and grandparent and you do that to your grandkids or your kids, you're definitely teaching your kids just to shut the fuck up and do what they're fucking told. In other words, exactly what they told us, our parents, the parents of Gen X, told us they didn't want us to do, which was do as I say, not as I do. Mm-hmm. You're teaching them to do as you fucking say, not as you do. You're teaching them hypocrisy, and they're already fucking born into a world that wallows in. Mm-hmm. Oh, but you know, hey, shut up, white boy. Okay, all right, sure.
We had COVID a couple months ago. I barely got sick, but my boys were sick, and they. I tested my youngest. I just had an extra test, and I tested him like right when things were starting to get, right when he was starting to get sick. And I'm over here going, please be COVID, please be COVID, please. Yes, it's not the flu. All right. Like, that's my response to it. It wasn't a big deal. He just was puny. And I was like, I knew when he was coming down with something. And I think, it was my husband who also was sick. But I mean, it's the same as like bad allergies here. We have terrible allergies here, but it's the same. That's our experience with it. Is just we are not afraid.
But at this point, I don't even, if you are of average to slightly below average health, unless you have like one of the half dozen fucking comorbidities that they talk about, you're pretty much going to be fine from COVID. I think the lesson that we need to learn is what did we learn from fucking the whole COVID thing? And I mean, absolutely, it's just, you just go, hey, we're not really sure, but we think that there's a really strong chance possibly might be that this virus is going to fuck you up really bad. So you need to do everything we tell you to do. And instead of going, whoa, wait a minute, what do you... That's a whole lot of might, if, ands, and buts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
pile of qualifiers you got there.
But you're giving me definitive fucking orders on how to deal with this. Like, you know exactly what you're doing when it's impossible for you because you can't even tell me what the problem is exactly. I mean, getting anything explained to you on a level besides shut the fuck up and do it because everybody else is waiting for you to, and you're fucking ruining everybody else's day because we got Stranger Things season 5 to binge. So hurry the fuck up so we can get home and watch it, you fucking idiot. And I swear to God, that's like the biggest takeaway from this. That and just the other little things I noticed that people just don't, I guess we just take for granted now. I mean, like the most contrived situations possible, people just accept now. If you go, why is that person driving around in a convertible in the summertime by themselves with a mask on? Oh, well, and then they come up with this fucking 15-minute long, completely contrived, impossible chain of events that made it a requirement for this person to be in there. So aren't you the asshole for even asking why they were doing that? And that has become so fucking normal now. It is, you can't even question, are you stupid? How did that happen? You can't even go, like if someone comes to you and goes, I'm in a fucking jacked up situation of my own creation. How did that happen? Don't say me. Oh my God. Really? Really? Explain yourself. And then, like I said, impossibly contrived situation. And you hear all that bullshit, and these days you can't say nothing because you're not what is, come on, Jess, what are some of the fucking buzzwords for your fucking shit ass generation? Throw them out there for me. I'm drawing a brain fart because I ain't dealt with y'all fucking enough.
I try not to deal with us either.
Seen, I don't feel represented. I don't fucking feel, all this other bullshit. Oh, God. Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful.
Oh, don't forget, what's seat at the table? What else?
Yeah, y'all know more of these than I do.
No, I mean, I saw it the other day, and I was explaining to my nephew. I was like, this is the retardation of COVID. But I was in public, and I had to keep my voice down because we were at a fast food restaurant, and they had the thing where they have we've all seen it, where they have the 3x5 piece of plexiglass hanging from the ceiling. I was like, I just want to come in here with like a canister of like compressed air with some dye in it and just release it right here and go, that's what COVID will do, dumbasses. What do you think this is doing? Like basic 4th grade science. Gases fill the volume of the container they're in.
So my favorite thing with the plexiglass things, was inevitably they wouldn't be able to hear you, so they'd lean around it. Be like, I'm sorry, what'd you say? What's this doing for you exactly?
My favorite thing is it's another way yet to make everybody have the contentious attitude towards complete strangers more so than we already have, because every place you go, and we've kind of talked about this before, especially if you were near a major city, like if you lived, the closer you were towards Detroit, the higher, during all this shit, the higher the chance that you were going to have to fucking put a mask on to do anything. The farther away from the city you got, the less likely it was.
You have to be an adult.
Well, now it's like, you don't know who's still on the COVID protocol bullshit, who's fucking been over it for a fucking better part of 2-3 years now. You walk into a store, you could deeply insult somebody just by making an assumption based on fucking context clues of looking around and being like, oh, I don't see anything that says please wear a mask. I don't see please take a mask if you don't have one. I don't see any of the fucking signs we've been conditioned the last 3 years and change to look for this. I don't have to wear a mask. And you walk in, next thing you know, the person's like, you can't be here without a mask. And it's like, I didn't dig up your dead grandmother and fuck her in front of you, dude. Seriously. And by the way, you could state that, but do you get my point? It's given us another excuse to already be more standoffish towards complete strangers than we already are. Because how dare you? Here we go. My favorite thing. Hood people, white trash, Mexican, just trash just across the board. You disrespected me, man.
Oh, there it is.
Disrespected me, dog.
Disrespect my name. Yeah. Oh.
Put some respect on my name.
Every fucking asshole I went to high school with. Oh, my God. Oh, I fucking hate that shit. I hope they're all enjoying their terrible lives that I'm sure they're having at this point. The ones that are still alive because of the high school I went to.
But no, it's absolutely. I still see it. I still see it. And it's, oh, God. It's gotten to the point.
When I see people our age do it, Rich, it's just sad. Like, dude, how old are we? You're like, I get it. You saw Boys in the Hood 30 fucking years ago. Like, yeah.
I just look around and I'm just looking at them and I'm going, at some point, don't you have to question, okay, so they're telling me that if, like, because this is what you'll hear from these people. This is what you hear from these people if you try to engage these people in good faith. Okay? You hear shit like, well, if everybody just wore a mask, then none of us would ever be sick.
Except that's not true.
And I'm like, okay, but even if that's true, you know that 100% compliance without one exception is impossible. And usually the conversation ends at this point because they go, why? And that's when I'm like, we're done. I can't explain to you. Murder's illegal. Fucking your child's illegal. We still throw people in prison for both of them on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Okay? It doesn't fucking stop anybody. Sure. Why? Okay. But yeah, it really is. I used to, for someone like me who does not have a political party anymore, like just the man without a fucking country type thing as far as politics go, the same feeling I feel, or I used to feel when I'd see the maggots coming with their little fucking stupid ass gay red hats, make America great again. I'm just like, oh, God, here comes a room temperature IQ having moron. All right, it's going to be a good conversation. We strap in and fucking get ready to deal with this fucking evolutionary throwback. Hey, how you doing today, Billy Jeff? Right? I feel the same way when I see some fucking moron walking in with a mask on. And I'm just like, you're the same. That's your way of just announcing your political extremism. Yeah. That's it.
That's your mega hat. Your mask.
Yeah, it's your mega mask.
See, I feel bad for people in the South right now where we are all suffering with the pollen, because I'm really used to seeing people outside by themselves wearing a mask and being like, I always have the little same thing that goes through my head where I'm like, yep, you're single-handedly saving the world. But also, I forget that this time of year people wear masks because of the pollen. So I judge them, and then I have to be like, damn it, like take it back in my head.
Puss.
There's a real simple way. If they walk in a fucking building, unless that building's got windows wide open and they're still wearing the mask, you really afraid that the pollen indoors is going to get you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yes, absolutely. But like I'm saying, just the people like going down the road. Like,
maybe it's because I work.
No, people in the South are so soft.
Bro, come on down here and breathe for a week and then talk to me.
Richard, would you like to educate her on the cacophony or the wonderful mixture of shit we probably breathe up here? It'd be like us. It'd be fresh air for us, Jess.
No, this pollen is unreal. It is unreal. Have you ever seen a pollen cloud?
Yeah. We on the west side of the suburbs, especially when you get out by Milford and shit.
Oh yeah, shit's got yellow dust on it for sure.
Not a thin coat either during certain parts of the year. But here's my point. My point is this: when I see someone out with a fucking mask in public, I don't automatically assume they're on some dumbass shit. In public, like, if you're in a car driving by yourself with the windows up and you got a mask on, chances are fucking high that you probably need instructions on how to wipe your ass.
For following the science, you're an idiot.
I'm not talking about either written instructions either. You're going to need written with figure 1, figure 2, figure 3 on how to wipe your ass, because you have no idea where to start. That's the shit I'm talking about. But when it's the inside shit, it's the people who fucking shoot people dirty looks. Like, you walk into it, and we're not talking about like a retirement home or a rehab facility, a hospice, a hospital, or anything like that. We're talking about a fucking restaurant with a bar attached. People are sitting around hollering and hooting and hollering and laughing and yelling at each other from across the fucking room, a.k.a. spraying droplets everywhere. Oh, God.
And then in comes Masky Buzzkill.
Shooting dirty looks and heavy science, extra loud so she could be heard. And yes, it's usually a she who does the heavy science so she can be heard over everything. Mm-hmm. So, until finally someone pays attention to the fucking hunchback cock beast. Because God knows, if she's not being pumped full of cum so she can pop out Trailer Park Miracle, she ain't fucking happy. So, yeah. But, yeah.
Rich is in a groove tonight. Well, no, it's, you know, but you know what I say to that bitch? This ain't 3 years ago. You're the weirdo again. All right? Yeah. 3 years ago, a bare face was a weirdo. Except if you were where Jess lives, you got to be normal. But, yeah, like, no, you're the weirdo again, all right? We're all comfortable going out and doing stuff again.
Yep. I've seen a couple random articles of people talking about, like, the ones who are clinging on to it. And they're talking about how the world's acting like COVID's over, but it's not over. And it's like, no. But it is, though. Like, come to this side. It's fine.
Look at the numbers. It's over.
Mm-hmm. You know what's scary? Here's what's really scary. From just a purely practical standpoint, I don't give a fuck if these people want to believe in COVID. Like a fucking 40-year-old who's supposedly not functionally retarded that still believes in Santa Claus. Knock yourself fucking out. What are they going to focus on when they don't have COVID to be the big bad in their life? Who are they going to pivot and focus that hatred on? Because that's not going anywhere. That's not going to dissipate just because COVID's no longer there to soak up most of their fucking animosity. I mean, I guess that's like kind of one of those like benefits that you like you didn't really see coming. Is it's really captured the attention of a certain type of moron and held it for long enough to where we don't have to worry about them with their usual bullshit. I mean, I get the feeling the people that are still clinging on to COVID and wanting it to be like I don't know, like the new AIDS epidemic or something that's going to be around for like 40 years until we get a handle on it or some shit. I just get the feeling those people they need something to blame for everything bad in their life. And if it wasn't COVID, they would invent something else. They're the type of people that before COVID were talking about, that 9/11 wasn't just an inside job. There was no planes that ever flown to the Twin Towers because the Twin Towers weren't ever real because they were holograms. Yes, I worked with a guy who was dead serious telling me that. And it took me weeks of working with him to figure out that this wasn't an act. He wasn't pulling my leg. He was dead serious. And I also met his cousin who I played in a band with. And she was like, "Oh, my cousin? Yeah, he's crazy. Have you figured it out?" I'm like, "Oh, he's serious about all that shit?" She's like, "The holograms? Dead serious." I'm like, "Oh, he's nutty as squirrel shit." Oh, okay. All right, cool. But yeah, I think it's like a retard dream catcher. Instead of catching bad dreams, you know what a dream catcher is, right? Suppose hanging over your bed and it catches the bad dreams and shit. Now we hang this up at COVID and all the retards like moths to a flame just go right to, oh, COVID, oh God. Good. Now we know where the morons are. Let's keep them over there.
All right.
Stay right there. Because God knows we have enough shit going on in the world to trigger fucking a bunch of people looking to be upset. If we take away their little shiny fucking ball of COVID and they have nothing to capture their fucking goldfish-sized attention span.
Maybe that's the trans push. So maybe they'll go become trans so they can start blaming all their problems on that.
Well, I just want to take a victory lap because Bud basically came out and immediately dropped here in America.
Oh, Budweiser,
in the heart of real man country was born Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser beer, and they went right for fucking cowboy country boots and hats. Like, what was it? Not even 2 full weeks after the fucking Dylan Mulvaney bullshit. Or Mulvaney, whatever the fuck his name is. And I'm just like, there you go, folks. That's how much all the fucking pearl clutching and hand wringing over this fucking corporation, they don't give a fuck. They're going to advertise to whoever they think is going to buy their shitty ass product.
Yeah, but did you see did you see the general social media response though? Was like, yeah, nice try. Like most people, allegedly a lot of people are pretty pissed still.
Yeah.
The responses I see the most of are pretty much, oh yeah, too little too late, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Or, who gives a fuck, you were stupid to ever be upset about this in the first place. Yet these are the same people who ignore the fact that they themselves or their buddies were fucking ready to like send death threats over a video game a couple months ago. And the fact that they were rioting and tearing down statues and threatening people's lives over Aunt Jemima on a fucking syrup bottle about 5 years ago. Like, all that's forgotten in this, though. Like, this is just stupid that straight white men are so upset about this woman being on this beer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's not a woman, for starter.
I can't.
And she's cosplaying as a woman, and that whole thing, she's dressed up as what, Holly Golightly?
I actually watched I guess, highlight reel of his, my first year as a woman when he made a video every day. Mm-hmm. And like, oh my God, Jess, I swear to God, I'm watching this. Like, if I was a bitch, I'd slap the fuck out this motherfucker. This motherfucker would have to square off with me and fight me like I'm a dude with a dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a mockery. It is an absolute mockery of women.
His day one, he's like, so it's my first day as a woman, and he's putting on like makeup, and he's doing it in that like how women do it in bad movies when they're like telling the actress, just do something with your makeup, just look like you're busy. It's like, you're not even doing anything. Anyways, yeah, that's a rant I don't want to go off. But he's just sitting there like, so I've cried for no reason, and I've told a man who asked me if I was okay. I said I was fine when I wasn't. So I'm crushing it as a woman today, right, ladies? Isn't this what we go through all the time? And I'm just going, how the fuck did we'll go from cultural appropriation to this in less than 5 years?
Right, like you said, I think we said it last week. Like, if I was my first day as a black man, well, I had Popeyes for lunch and grape soda with it. I'm killing it as a black guy today. Like, no, you could not do that.
No, it's nothing but just making it into a joke. And then as women, we're being told, no, you must celebrate this. You have to. If not, you're the problem.
See, originally there was a lot of pushback from the, I don't know what you'd call it, the meme community. The pushback from the meme community was, call out the hypocrisy of anybody who, first of all, assume anyone who is against this moron and this ad campaign is a far-right Christian / almost terrorist. That's the first assumption. And then, like, when you start dealing with, it irks me that companies are pushing this, that like anyone who they come up with these marketing schemes and they go, anyone who opposes this is a far right, blah, 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 blah. And then what happens? Pop culture, meme culture, the internet, we'll say, for lack of a better term, hops on it, and they start pushing this shit. And at first they were pushing, everyone who is opposed to this is a far-right Christian conservative. No, that's not the case. It's people that are like, look, here's the deal. This is just fucking the same thing as blackface. You just got done yelling at this country for a fucking half a decade about this shit. Now we're going to celebrate it? Fuck you. And they cannot accept that. They cannot accept that. And so now it's pivoted to, well, you need to get the fuck over it. This is why I hate that. Are you mad? You mad, aren't you? Ooh, you big mad, aren't you? It's like, is that a win? I'm sorry. Is provoking someone to the point where they are angry somehow put more money in your bank account, make you live longer, make your cat never die, make your wife never suck the neighbor's cock? What does it do? What does it do? I want an answer. Because everybody fucking does this shit.
I mean,
internet clout?
The best I have is that bad publicity is still publicity. So if you get people talking, then...
And as dumb as that is in today's world, that's absolutely what I believe is going on. Anheuser-Busch don't give a fuck. Anheuser-Busch would put Satan and Jesus on the same fucking can in the same six-pack if they thought it'd sell more beer.
Everyone's been talking about it for 2 fucking weeks. At this point, how much free advertising have we given Anheuser-Busch in the last couple weeks? Mm-hmm. Their terrible-ass portfolio of products.
And their stocks have even started making a recovery from what I've seen. Like, they dipped.
What I say last week, Memorial Day's coming, they'll be fine.
Let's see. I want to see where they are now.
I guess the point I was trying to make is the pushback against any type of criticism of this ad campaign is you're sensitive, you're a snowflake, we're going to make fun of you and basically shame you into accepting something that you absolutely don't want to accept just because you don't want to take the shame anymore. This is what happens when 13-year-old fucking cunt girls get to run a fucking country. Who let fucking middle school bitches decide how we fucking run this country these days?
Yeah.
That's some fucking welcome to middle school mean girl shit. And yet that's how we fucking self-regulate these days. And people fall for it because someone with a fucking screen name of booty liquor tongue and butthole 4XXX42069 said that you're a fucking dork because you got triggered over a beer can. So, oh my God, my life's over because my Facebook family and friends are going to see that. Oh shit. The tongue punch, the fart box bandit fucking told me I'm a gay person online. Oh God, what? My life is over.
But yeah, there's this whole paranoia of like, oh, someone might be mad at me. Like, I don't know, it's probably why we've known each other for so long. I revel in that shit. Like, good. I made you think. I made you feel something.
Here's what I try to explain to people. You don't give a fuck. Yeah, about what most people think and most people say. I don't give a fuck. I care about what people I care about and I love think and say.
Boom.
But I don't give a fuck what some random dude who don't know shit about shit has got to say about anything. Just like I know he don't give a fuck about anything I got to say about anything. Believe me, it's helped me fucking keep my nose out of trouble the last fucking 10, 15 years of my life by just going, it ain't my fucking problem.
Yep.
Sorry about your luck, homeboy. Unless someone comes specifically over and goes, can you help me? I don't volunteer shit no more.
You're like, yeah, sounds like a you problem.
But no, it's this whole attitude of, and I just hate it. I despise it because it's this like, we're so cool that we just don't care about anything. And it's like, yeah, but you obviously do because you keep this fucking going just as much as the people that you're fucking attacking. In fact, I've seen in a lot of cases in a lot of meme groups. And by the way, these meme groups, I use them as like what would you call it? Like a barometer of like, you know, what's going on, because you can usually see how the public is feeling with how the memes go. And the memes have stopped being, oh, it's a bunch of Christian fundamentalists and far right wackos who are upset about this, to everybody needs to chill the fuck out. Anybody who gives a fuck what any beer brand does is an idiot. And I'm like, but do you see the pivot I'm talking about? And do you guys see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're trying to be like, whoa, what?
Yeah, we never said anything about any far right and Christian extreme straight white people, cis white. We never said anything about it. Motherfucker, yes, you did. Literally just a week ago. Now I was trying to have a conversation with someone 2 weeks ago about the financial fucking impact of this type of marketing, which is just very thinly fucking veiled, and it's basically propaganda. The exact same tactics used in wartime propaganda during World War I and World War II with a thin veneer over it called fucking public relations. And I was called out, and we talked about it on the show, I was called out as a transphobe for trying to have that conversation. Now, the exact same type people that were calling me out as a transphobe for wanting to have that conversation want to have that conversation after they've ran out of fucking gas calling everybody a transphobe. Mm-hmm. This is why I don't. Asteroid 2024. Let's wipe the fucking slate clean. Let Mother Nature take another fucking swing at it. I'm done. Obviously, I'm not, but
maybe we need a new virus. One that works.
Don't say that. No, please. Let's try something new.
An asteroid. Worked for the dinosaurs.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Attention shoppers, we now have taste in the bread aisle. Dave's Killer Bread. That's right, an organic bread that's no longer a sedative for your taste buds. Dave's Killer Bread is on a mission to make the most of the loaf, to rid the world of GMOs, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial ingredients, and plant the seeds of good in all that they bake. Killer taste, killer texture, and always organic. Dave's Killer Bread. Bread amplified.
Leftovers. Or the DMV.
Number 97.
Or house cleaning. Or
Chumba Casino always brings the fun. Play over 100 different games online for free from anywhere. You could redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. Live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Leftovers. Or the DMV.
Number 97.
Or house cleaning. Or
Chumba Casino always brings the fun. Play over 100 different games online for free from anywhere. You could redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. Live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Leftovers. Or the DMV.
Number 97.
Or house cleaning. Chumba Casino always brings the fun. Play over 100 different games online for free from anywhere. You could redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. Live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Leftovers. Or the DMV.
Number 97.
Or house cleaning. Chumba Casino always brings the fun. Play over 100 different games online for free from anywhere. You could redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. Live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
You know, here's something completely off the menu that I'm gonna throw out there, because it was a big fucking story for about a year or about a year ago, and it's just taken that like it's just sitting on the back burner. But I'm hearing rumblings about like the Ukraine war and misappropriation of funds, and I'm starting to see people online go, wait a minute, the government lied to us about Korea, right? Right. They lied to us about Vietnam, right? Right. They lied to us about Grenada, right? Right. They lied to us about Iraq 1 and 2, right? Yes. And Afghanistan, yes. So they're lying to us about the Ukraine. No.
Okay.
And people are starting to go, yeah, I don't give a fuck. You can tell me you're not going to come in my fucking face as much as you want, but you're Peter North about coming in my face. It's like what is it? Lucy holding the fucking ball for fucking Charlie Brown and him going, it'll be different this time. Not really, Chuck. She's gonna pull that motherfucker back at the last second.
Oh, do you know what this means? Do you know? It means if Burisma is anywhere near this, I'm gonna break my hand voting for Donald Trump next year. Like I won't be able to vote for him because it means he was right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just starting to. I just think it's funny that I'm just noticing a very low murmur start, and it's not partisan whatsoever at this point. It will get turned into partisan politics, I'm absolutely sure. Once enough people start asking the question, being like, you just told us that our government lied to us about all these wars and misrepresented us or the situation to us and all this shit. Now you're saying that this time it's above board. Why? Because trust you, bro?
Because the blue team's in charge. They don't do anything dishonest.
Blue team was in charge for half the wars I named before and started, technically, I mean, I know it's weird to think about this if you're our age, but when we were kids, the Democrats were considered warmongers because of Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. Fucking LBJ was a fucking demon. Oh, yeah. Just somebody on this podcast, possibly sitting in this seat, has been saying, hey, remember how there was like iffiness with Joe in Ukraine and now we're at war with them? And for some reason, we just have to defend them, and it's the right thing to do. And now we're hearing about misappropriation of funds? Huh. You don't say.
Remember when Burisma was under investigation? and Joe Biden was our sitting vice president, and the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma, Joe Biden threatened to withhold funds from Ukraine unless he fired the unless
Trump got indicted for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just Trump making the phone call asking if it happened.
No, but Trump saying he was going to withhold aid unless he got information. That's exactly what he got impeached for.
But he didn't say he was going to withhold aid. He just implied, right?
Oh, he did hey, it's a nice border you got there.
Yeah,
It'd be a shame if it stopped being secured.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Trump just said, we've done a lot for you. I'd like it if you do me a favor. And they're like, whoa, that's quid pro quo. Can't do that. But Biden is laughing on a recording. You can look it up on YouTube. I've talked about this before, where he's like, and I told him you're going to fire that prosecutor. And if you don't, then I'm not sending you that money. I'm getting on a plane in 4 hours. Let me know. And son of a bitch, they fired the prosecutor. Wouldn't you know it? And he's laughing about it like he's at a boys club. You can look it up. Anyone listening, look it up. And he's talking about Burisma. Well, the prosecutor looking into Burisma.
See, here's the problem. I don't think it's hard for people to believe this shit. I think it's just hard for people to believe this shit about their chosen fucking tribe.
Yep.
And you can't. It's like trying to explain to somebody whose entire persona is a sports team how, like, dude, you love this team as much as you want, but it's never going to love you back. It's a one-way relationship, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard because I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, if Trump's calling this shit out, then how is Trump and other politicians profiting off this war? Because that way, if they're willing to rat out that way how to profit on this situation, then as far as they're concerned, they're closing that loophole by doing that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like they can't very well be like, look what Biden did, and then get caught doing the exact same thing 6 months later. I mean, it happens all the time because, you don't have to be smart to be a businessman. You just have to have financing and backing, basically. But
our government has no memory either. Case in point, the last 2 Supreme Court appointments, right? When everybody switched sides, saying the exact same thing during the last appointment. Acting like, Mitch McConnell acting like he didn't say the exact same shit the people on the left were saying, and vice versa. Like, they're dumb.
Yeah, and if you remember,
they think we're dumb.
If you remember going back to the old show when Obama nominated Merrick Garland and the Republicans pulled out the Biden rule from 40 years prior to not fucking vote on it and say, we're going to basically just refuse to deal with the nomination for Supreme Court until the election's over. I mean, I called that shit. And then when it happened the other way, I was like, okay, now I'm done. Because I couldn't believe the very same people who were sitting there and as outraged as I was a few years prior, when it was when the Republicans were pulling this on the Democrats, were now okay with the Democrats trying to pull this on the Republicans. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going, you people have no moral fucking compass. No. You don't know where true north points. It's just what your team, that, by the way, is not your team whatsoever. You don't get anything. You don't get a championship ring, okay? Like, you are better off going and rooting for a sports team, because at least if you meet an athlete, there's a pretty good chance he might be polite to you in public. See if that happens with a politician. But I digress.
Our politicians in 2023 have the mentality of kindergartners. It's, oh yeah, yeah. Well, you did it. Well, I'm going to do it too. Like, it's for real. Like the adults, people older than us, acting like children. Like, oh, you did it. Well, I'm going to do it. Just some of the things, if you ever read about some of the exchanges that go on in Congress, it's like, wow. Like, you're an adult. You're an elected official.
Look at what a lot of the so-called progressive and, for lack of a better term, woke, whatever, what some of their ideology is. It's all based on someone else got to get away with something, so we want to get away with something. It's not about making the world a better place. It's about making it so they can get away with the same shit that they, by the way, a lot of times assume other people are getting away with, when in reality, that's not what's happening.
He got a cookie, I want a cookie too. Yeah,
well, no, it's more
you
like
laugh. You hear that
cookie.
daily,
Why
don't you,
can't
Jess?
we steal a cookie?
Yeah. That too.
And being that bold faced to say, why can't we steal the cookie? And it's like, seriously?
Because only shitheads steal cookies. Don't you want to be like the shithead? Whatever happened to that conversation?
Well, speaking of cookies, this is a little off the beaten path for us. It's a Barstool Sports article, but it's not necessarily sports in the way you think. It's an article about how every single branch of the military is missing their recruiting goals, and recruiters are speaking out on this. So this is from, the 13th? So there's a major recruiting crisis in the U.S. military right now. In 2022, the Army missed its recruiting goal by 15,000 active duty soldiers. The other branches are struggling as well, and there's been a ton of scuttlebutt as to why. Don't get me wrong, I'm certain there's a whole slew of valid reasons lending to this perfect storm or drought, but Military Times reporters went straight to the recruiters themselves and found that a new medical screening system, Military Health System Genesis, was likely the biggest culprit. Who would have thought the government would make things more complicated in a very costly quest to make them more simple? Whereas before it was...
Can I share the first red flag, though, I have about this? Like, it just dawned on me when you read it. They share the hard number, they don't share the percentage. Like, that's what people do when they want something to be a bigger deal than it is, right? Like, guess what I'm getting at is, like, what do they say, 115,000 or 150? Like, that could be like, we missed it by 5%. But welcome, everybody. You've built this monster. This is how I process things when I hear information now. Sorry, Rich.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know about the Army, but I know it was of, 1997 or 8. I think the Marine Corps was 150,000 active duty. Now, the Marine Corps is by far, I mean, I don't know what Space Force is, technically, what their numbers are. But excluding Space Force and the Coast Guard are by far the smallest of the four. So, I mean, 15,000, yeah, that'd be a big hit to them. But no, it's a valid point.
Well, based on the number you gave, right? Like, the Marines missed it by 15,000. Ooh, that's 10%. That means you hit 90% of your goal. Last time I checked, that's... If you give me 90% odds on something in a casino, I'm playing it all fucking night.
Yeah, but you got to understand, the military is like, we need these numbers to be this way for this to run the way we have it planned to run.
True.
And they're already running, believe me, the numbers, their ideal numbers are already running what we would consider like a skeleton crew.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute, you're the largest pizza place on a Friday night in your neighborhood, and you have a guy on the make line, an insider who's a high schooler answering phones, and one driver.
People
are you suicidal?
Yeah.
You're basically just burning money now. You're just turning money away at the front door. All right, so back to the article. It says, whereas before it was relatively easy to leave out certain parts of a recruit's medical history that might disqualify them from service, the Genesis program finds and red flags them ASAP. And if you know anything about military recruiting culture, you know it's a big-time problem. According to multiple recruiters from different branches and locations in the article, Genesis has ended an applicant's ability to gloss over or knowingly ignore minor medical issues such as past use of ADHD meds or inhalers before signing up. In the process, these recruiters say, it has turned the military stream of applicants into a trickle and made a recruiter's already difficult job even harder. Nobody says it out loud in the wrong company, but the whole Department of Defense knows that before Genesis, we were able to put people through with a lot of different things within reason, because whatever that applicant decides to disclose is whatever that applicant decides to disclose. Joe Brown, a Marine Corps recruiter and senior NCO officer, staff NCO, in the South, that's a weird sentence, told Military Times, now that Genesis exists, we can no longer hide things. Okay, now this is the point that I'm getting at. First of all, this is going to make recruiting almost impossible in this country, the way we fucking drug up kids. Mm-hmm. Because if any application from here on out, even if it starts today, like right now, April 19th, from here forward, every person that's born, every medication or prescription they get is fed into a fucking government database. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck we're ever going to meet recruiting numbers ever again. I really don't, because we already have problems with obesity and prior drug use, prior convictions, the nonsense with education. So, I mean, apparently the standards can change depending on how the numbers are being met that month, week, quarter, whatever the fuck. I mean, that's just right there. I'm just like, okay, you guys just basically shot yourself in the foot trying to make sure you don't get shot. It makes no fucking sense. It is absolutely positively on fucking brand for the United States fucking government and the armed forces.
Right.
However, now here's the other thing that bothers me. Why is no one fucking upset that there's a database of everybody's fucking prescriptions? Why is that just being like admitted to, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, oh, that's fucked up, man. Wait, what?
I think that didn't happen because of the opioid thing. Wasn't that one of the? Didn't Trump do that?
This is me. I don't care what flavor of bullshit and authoritarianism it is.
No, I know. Remember when he did his little opioid crisis thing? Wasn't that part of it?
I don't know.
That wouldn't have anything to do with ADHD medication, though.
No, but as far as a prescription database.
Yeah, the military health system genesis.
No, I was about to speak out of turn.
But I guess maybe, you're looking up, Rich, to maybe provide somewhat of an answer to your question. How old are these guys? Like 18 to like 22? Their whole life's been online. They don't care. It doesn't bother them. They don't know anything else.
But also, just to kind of touch on something I think we talked about in the last at least week or two, whenever it comes to things like red flag laws, couldn't something like that be used against you if more red flag laws were passed for gun ownership?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't want psychos in the military.
But here's the thing.
It's not psychos, it's ADHD.
Here's what we need to. Okay, here's how I'm reading this situation. This is what I'm picking up from this situation. We need to stop assuming that there's not databases storing all our info. Assume that they're already out there doing that. The laws to make it legal just ain't been passed yet, so they're not doing it in the open yet.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I assume I gave him the green flag in 2008 when I got my first iPhone. Like, I'm not dumb, really. I know why Google knows what I'm looking up. I know why Google Music or whatever it's called now knows what I like to hear. I know what Apple I just assume I guess I just don't care. Like anything that I do that used to be not above the law is now above the law. I guess it's just one of those. I know it's like when I eat sausage, right? Sausage is delicious, but do not show me how it's made. I know how it's made. I've read about it, but I don't want to see it. I guess that's kind of how I feel about it now. Like I'm carrying a smartphone. I know what I'm getting into, I guess.
Right. But it's the implications beyond that. Like if you have a 12-year-old boy who's not even really struggling in school. He's just being a 12-year-old boy and he doesn't want to sit still for 8 hours at a time. And the teachers suggest ADHD medication. No parent is thinking that's going to cripple his ability to join the military if that's what he grows up and decides to do. You see what I'm saying? Like that may sway some people's decision on whether or not to try the ADHD medication. It said in that article, even like a trial period to see if ADHD medication would be helpful counted against people and disqualified them.
Well, we hadn't got to that part of the article yet, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were surmising at that point, wasn't trying to give spoilers.
No, that's okay. But
well, then that has to be conflicting feelings, right? Like, yeah. Well, if they didn't end up on it for an extended period, why does it then change your fucking guidelines? Maybe then. Is this whole story a big?
Does no one see the issue with the fact that how fucking relative to the person making the call this type of shit can be? Like, one school fucking psychiatrist said he needs ADHD fucking medication, and then you move or whatever, and you go to a school district where they actually give a fuck, and it's not a production line of shoving fucking drugs in kids' face and sending them out of the office. They're like, no, you don't need all that shit. Boom, you just severely limited your kids' ability when they're 18, what they can do with their life. Mm-hmm. Because we have this database. And here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you what, as a child, I had a parent who absolutely did not give a single fuck how much my life was destroyed by the bullshit they pulled and they put in my name. And the world don't give a fuck either, okay? They're out there. And this is going to bite us in about 15 to 20 years in the dick, in the ass. Every place that's real sensitive that you don't want teeth to fucking gnash on you, they're going to be mowing down on our ass. I don't see any other way around it.
Yeah.
He needs to change their standards then. If the military, if this is what you've now created, then change your fucking standard.
Which affects combat effectiveness, which affects morale, which affects... I mean, do you see what I'm saying? This is...
Like, if you painted yourself in a corner, build a new corner, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, because I guess they can, because they're the fucking military.
Military culture works because it has to work. As reductive and as quickly as I can explain it, most people who have survived extreme military situations, like extreme combat situations and been in the military, if you've ever listened to them talk, you don't even have to engage with them. You just listen to them talk to other veterans. Be a fly on the wall if ever possible. And you'll hear, they didn't do it for God, country, apple pie, baseball, none of that bullshit. They did it for the motherfucker next to him because they knew he would die for them and he'd die for his buddy. I mean, that's how military culture is. You start trying to socially engineer military culture to get outcomes that you quote unquote desire so you can attract more recruits, you're going to destroy that level, that military culture and the level of, I guess, proficiency that comes with it. Okay. I mean, like combat effectiveness, I guess it would be their term that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
I guess I'm hearing a problem and I'm trying to solve it, but I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, no, it's part of the ethos, right? Like once
again, they shot themselves in the foot trying to avoid shooting themselves in the foot.
Right.
It is literally the Eminem at the end of 8 Mile. Tell these, except for it worked for Eminem when he went, now tell these people something about me they don't know, after he just put all his business out. That works in that situation. Shooting yourself in the foot so no one else shoots you in the foot does not save you from getting shot in the foot, United States military. I don't know why I got to explain this to you, but apparently they need someone to explain it to them. And I mean, and then there's just, and this is all, I have no articles and I'm not going to dig up and start posting shit I've seen, but I think we talked about it. The furry issue in the military, people like taking pictures in their fur suits and in their uniforms and their dress blues and shit, all this stuff. And
that sounds humorous.
You have that level of shit going on, and people are like, well, the military is just perfectly fine. It's blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, how do you really? Everything's perfectly fine when the standards are constantly changing and moving, and there's different standards for different people, apparently.
Call me Sergeant Fluffy.
I don't see how that's going to, I just don't see how that's going to work. And I've been around enough military people and families full of people that were been in the military. My generation and younger are the pussies. Everybody else served. So there you go. Been around them all my life. And here's the thing. You can kind of help that camaraderie by doing what boot camp does, which is giving everybody who goes through boot camp or basic training a common experience to draw back on and say, we all survived this. Even if we didn't do it together, we've done it, et cetera, and shit like this. But now it's almost like people, like the military wants you to join and then turn into the United Colors of Benetton and shit. And it's like, that's not going to fucking work. The point of the military is to get everybody on the same page, for everybody to act as one. Like I said, I really didn't want to get off into this because if you're not from a military family or you don't understand how the military and military culture works, this sounds like shit that I shouldn't have to worry about. Yeah, probably. But the problem is that we're seeing the real results here. Mm-hmm. Before 10 years ago, it was people are too fucking fat to be able to get in the military. 10 years later, it's people's medical history from when they were minors is stopping them from getting into the military. This shit was. By the way, what happened to fucking minor shit being SEAL?
Yeah, I guess that doesn't apply. Well, I mean, if you can go and sign up when you're 17, right? You just can't actually be sent until you're 18.
Your parents have to sign off on it when you go to sign up when you're 17.
Also, too, if you're signing up, aren't you volunteering this information anyway?
There's different. It's not like the movies. You don't just walk in and go, hey, I want to kill people. And they put a piece of paper in front of you and you sign it and you get on a bus and you go. It's a process. You see what I'm saying? And at certain points, like it's a long story. This is why I said I didn't want to fucking get into it.
Oh no,
if you don't know anything about military culture. You don't understand what I'm talking about, and I don't have 3 hours to sit here and get into the minutia of this bullshit. No, I really don't.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, dude, it just reminded me. My ex-brother-in-law was going through all this shit. He was trying to sign up for the military, and he had some crazy shit going on with his back, and it was taking and it was just taking forever, and then they finally just had to be like, dude, like, and I think it might have been because of this thing. They're like, it's not going to happen.
The best way I can explain it is in my experience, I walked into a recruiter's office. He said, you have to meet X amount of physical requirements before I can do anything with you. I said, okay. I joined what they called the delayed entry program, or DEP for short. Did that for 6 months. Got ready to join, fill out all my paperwork, all that bullshit, and medical issues came back to haunt me, and they were like, nope, we're not going to fucking roll the dice and put you in. And I basically said, okay, this is the second time I've tried this, and it's the second time the United States government has told me, basically, we don't want you. I don't need to be told I'm a three-time loser. You know what I'm saying? By the same bitch.
You're like,
I'll just move on.
I tried,
to a new bitch. Yeah. Now I'm going to go be a DJ. So, I mean, like, but you got to understand, like, there's different levels of waivers. And this is what I was, like, trying to avoid, but I guess I can explain this real quick. Like, certain waivers can be like, when I went to MEPS the first time, it was in Jacksonville, Florida. I guess it would be like a MEPS level waiver. And then there's, like, no, they got to go higher than the Jacksonville to get the okay to waive that, to try to put you in. And too many waivers automatically disqualifies you. And then there's just also the fact, like they did go on to explain in this article here, that hiding shit and your recruiter telling you what you never admit to ever again, at least until your fucking DD-214 is in your hand and the ink's dry on it. That used to be the name of the game. You can't do that now. Because think about this, dude. What happens if you get a 15-year-old kid, right? Goes to the doctor for whatever reason, he's going to, like, some sort of oral surgery where they want to put him under. Doctor goes, okay, so what have you anesthesiologist, what drugs have you done? And a kid, 15, nothing. Okay, you really don't want to wake up in the middle of this. And that will happen if you lie to me, especially if you smoke weed. Oh, I smoke lots of weed. I Cheech and Chong it up. Okay, perfect. Now that's in his medical record. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like this is the type of shit that comes back and bites us in the ass down the road that no one wants to pay attention to at the time because it's not the big sexy issues. Like I said, I read this article and I'm just going, why the fuck is there a database like this?
Because efficiency. That's what they'll tell you.
Well, we all know how I feel about bureaucratic efficiency. So no need to go down
there. Seems to be working out well for him.
But again, that has other implications, like how far that could extend into things like red flag laws and whatnot.
Because if you think it's going to stop here, you are willfully ignorant. You are sticking your head in the sand. I don't know any other way to put it. I'm not going to get more creative than that because it's such a cliche thing to do. You don't deserve any more creative way to being told that you're an idiot. I just, that's what sticks with me. And I just know, I know one thing. If there's the ability to use some information like this against somebody, even 50 years down the line, the seeds of this shit could be planted now, and 50 years down the line, it come back and bite somebody in the ass. We're all dead and gone at that point. Well, except for Jess, because she'll just be getting ready to celebrate her 80th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but whatever. All right. Yeah. What else do we have here? Good job. By the way, good job, military. Just gonna say that. Good job, military. And
maybe we need to start putting Godsmack back in the commercials.
Well, I mean, apparently, the Army was trying to go for more of the Hey, we're the progressive Army. And I'm like, huh? But sure, okay.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess the Marines were just like, nah, we ain't doing that shit.
Or the Marines, fuck you. That's their new slogan.
Look here. We already let these WMs serve with fucking men and train with men now. You know, the real Marines, don't push it, okay? You know, it's like, and on top of that, they're probably going to like the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force are like, okay, you know all them super butchy bitches that are too butchy for you, yeah, send them our way. Send them our way.
That's their new motto. The Marines, don't push it.
Well, dude, seriously, up until probably, I think in the last 15, 20 years, maybe even more recent than that, women Marines were only trained because there's 2 Marine Corps recruit depots, Parris Island and San Diego. And women were only trained in Parris Island, and they were trained in 4th Battalion. And 4th Battalion was the women's battalion with women drill instructors and men drill instructors all by its lonesome way the fuck out in BAFE at Camp Lejeune there. Or excuse me, Parris Island. And now apparently it's like, now we have co-ed fucking boot camp. And I'm just like, all right. I've seen the videos, and it's exactly what you think. It's a bunch of fucking former jocks plowing over some 5'2" chick. And she gets up. She's got heart. I mean, I'll give her that. She this one bitch got ran over when they were doing with the pugil sticks and shit. And she got, that bitch was out on her feet, but she didn't go down. I was like, that's heart. But that's a dead bitch on a battlefield with a lot of heart. That's
right, yeah.
So, I mean, whatever.
That's a plain box and a flag waiting to happen.
Did they let trans join the military?
Yeah, I think you have to transition while in the military, though.
Except the Marines. No.
I have no... I've heard of people transitioning in the military, but I don't know because it seems like that's some major medical shit to be going through, especially if the trans quote unquote kids that are coming up in the next decade or so who've been on hormone replacement therapy or suppression therapy or chemically castrated for the better part of 10 years when they're walking in at 18 to join the military. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be interesting.
I just figured being trans in the military meant you were switching branches.
Well, here's the deal. Well, think about it this way. If being trans is now a federally protected identity, and they're a protected class, you can't discriminate based on that. So you can't tell someone they can't join the military, even if they've been on some crazy-ass hormones that we don't know how that's going to affect them, because we've only been pumping kids full of this shit for the last decade, because we've only been stupid enough to do it the last decade.
So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make is you can join if you're trans and you've been on these medications, but if... Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look at, transgender individuals are not excluded from military service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
But you can do that, but if you went on ADHD medication at 12, sorry, you're out.
Oh, there's... Going back to what I was saying, there's thousands of reasons that people have no fucking clue about that the military can turn you down. People think flat feet and I got fallen arches, I can't serve in the military. Nope, bad teeth. And by bad teeth, not even rotten, just too crooked, shit like that. Oh, you wear glasses? What's your prescription? I mean, it's just what it is. There are all these little things that can get you, bounced out of the military. And it's been that way even back with the draft. I mean, that's why they had grades. Like, A1 was like, hey, this is a prime person to go to the draft. And we're predicting we'll accept. This is our number 1 overall pick, Chris. That's how you put it in that language. He's going to excel. He's going to excel in the military. And 4F would be like Mr. Irrelevant. Like, nobody wants you. Like, we just had to fucking take you. 4F is like, they won't even draft you. If World War III is happening, they'll just tell you to enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's timely because the draft is coming up.
But yeah, it is interesting, and it is going to be. I guess we're going to see the how this shit plays out.
Isn't 4 F's gilding the lily? Isn't just 1 F good enough? Like I get it, not good. F means fail, but get 4 F's. God damn! Like I'm a quadruple failure. Sorry.
Oh well. Staying on topic of the tried and true conversation of transgender, CVS Gender Transition Guide says employees must use preferred pronouns and can use the bathroom reflecting identity.
So this is when I posed the question, when does this start getting into First Amendment stuff? Why?
Well, because it's coming from a business, they found a way to circumvent the First Amendment.
Understood. Trust me, I'm the first guy to go like, oh, the government didn't say. But, like, when are people going to try to start, like, why do I have to forcibly say something that I don't believe? Like, dude, if, like, the couple experiences I have, like, dude, if you have a mustache and I'm calling you sir and you're like, excuse me, I'm trans, like, fuck you. Like, if you look like a dude and I'm calling you a dude and you're like, no, you have to call me a woman, well, fuck you. You look like a man. You have a mustache. Shave.
Is it really? Because let's be honest here, and we've talked about this before. Jesus Christ, whatever. Fucking slap on this plastic smile and plow through this shit again for your listening pleasure. Most people who are trans, you don't have to guess how they're trying to present. If you're legitimately trans, pretty much you're going to, if you're a trans woman, you're going to dress like a woman. You're not going to leave it up to fucking a coin toss. You're not going to go out looking ambiguous. You're not going to go out looking like Ziggy Stardust era fucking David Bowie and shit. All this pronoun and this compelled fucking speech, I don't think it's really for trans people, dude. I think it's for the they nutbags. The non-binary, I have to be more special than even the most special LGBT people. The two souls type people. And by the way, the fact that two souls has been added in there, why are we not decimating these people for being a religious fucking organization now and holding them to that standard?
Yeah.
Because to me, all it is a mask off moment. You are a religion. Here's my definition of religion. Do you have to take shit on faith? It's a religion. Biology says a trans woman is not the same as a biological woman. You say it is. Why? Because you really want it to be. That's a religion. That's faith. Treat them as such.
True. Can't argue with that.
But besides that, even I don't remember. Now, I'm not saying this didn't happen, but Chris, I don't remember this. I don't remember hearing about Perry drugs or fucking Arbor drugs back in the day saying you have to say, God bless, have a good day.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never remember hearing that bullshit. Like, you have to, if someone comes in and they're like, I'm a deacon, you have to call them Deacon so-and-so. Mr. So-and-so isn't good enough. It's like, really? These people are the equivalent of the person who walks around like, you have to call me Dr. Smith. Motherfucker, how do I know you're a doctor unless you're fucking flaunting that you're a doctor? Take my Mr. and Sir and get the fuck on with your day. Loser, the fuck's your problem? I'm telling you, that's what this shit is for, Chris. I'm telling you, this is trans. If you've met trans people, I'm guaranteeing most of them, unless you get real close and are really giving them a fucking good close once over, half the time you just think they're just an average looking fucking person on a bad day. I don't know any other way to put it, man. Like, I don't feel this is for those people. And I know I make that distinction, but that distinction, I believe, truly needs to be made.
I agree. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in the people who truly just want to, like, believe that they're in the wrong body, right? So they're going to do anything they can to make themselves look like either a male if they're a female or a female if they're a male. And then you have, like, the joke, the frogs, and you're going to respect what I identify as with your, like, Miss Frizzell dressing self that's making with your 5 o'clock shadow, and you've shaved your head bald, but you're wearing bright red lipstick and prancing around in high heels. What? And they always have some neo pronoun.
That's what I'm saying. It's we have to be more special than, it's Animal Farm. All animals are equal. Some are more equal than others, though.
Yes.
We're all special, but I'm more special than you.
Yes.
Fuck off. I don't. Oh, God. And that's the other thing. This is another thing that got lost. It got brought up around a year or two into us starting the old show. Was about in the was child development community, I guess, or childhood development community. There was a lot of talk and discussion about how the entire self-esteem movement of the late 70s, 80s, and pretty much all the 90s has just been a fucking huge failure. No kids' self-esteems have been improved. In fact, they've plummeted. More kids get their self-esteem now from what other people say and think about them than they do themselves. The whole point of teaching kids self-esteem has been lost on kids. That doesn't get brought up anymore in any of this shit. Like, any of these real issues don't get brought up. And if they do, they quickly get swept under the rug. Or in the case of when you bring up, hey, have you kind of noticed how, like, public schools and education have pretty much just gave up on fucking young boys for the last 20 years? Shut the fuck up. What you misogynist. Shut up, you istophobe. Okay.
Well, the numbers are bearing it out. Women are killing it in college versus guys. Especially black women.
Okay, and what are they coming? What degrees are they coming out with?
Terrible ones.
I mean, yeah, we need nurses, but how many gum chewing, teeth sucking, attitude throwing, overweight, telling you to lose weight, fucking nurses do we need? Really, honestly, I know we have a nursing shortage. Really, I kind of see nurses more than I see fucking doctors. Maybe we need more doctors. How about that? Throwing that out there. But I mean, like, that's all I hear about. Oh, well, women are going into nursing. Then why the fuck do we have the nursing shortages we do? Obviously, that career field can't retain them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, but these are all issues that, once again, I hate to say it, but half of the country goes, it ain't my fucking concern. It ain't my problem because I'm a female. And it's usually until they get married and pop out a son, and then they go, whoa, wait a minute. And it's like, it's not your problem, though, right? But now it affects your king and your prince. Now it's your problem, huh, queen? Yeah. Go cry in the bathroom in a corner. That's how you gonna slay today, queen. But no, sir, I'm like, this is type of shit that I don't know who brings it up, because guys like Chris and I can't bring it up. We don't have any. First of all, any male who stands up and starts advocating for like school-age children who doesn't have a kid, aka skin in that game, comes off as suspect as a motherfucker. Let's just be honest here. The days of Mr. Rogers getting the pass are gone. There's no more. There's not even a Captain Kangaroo, let alone another Mr. Rogers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are fucking, yeah. Those days are gone.
But there isn't anybody. The only people I've been seeing like speaking out openly about all of this that are not just immediately labeled are the gays. Have y'all noticed that? Like, gay people are now actively speaking out against this, especially whenever it comes to like children, or like how we've talked about it, the separation, how they're like, let's stop I don't want to be grouped in with this anymore.
Well, yeah, there's a video going around of news footage from interviews that was never used from pride parades, where they're talking to participants in pride parades who are like, we're out here in assless chaps and we're dancing around and we got nipple clamps on shit. Why are people bringing their fucking children here? Mm-hmm. You know, so they're like, this isn't fucking like, pride was supposed to be like gay Mardi Gras, not like, you know, gay fucking for the whole family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, exactly. Like, you don't, Jess, if you were going to Mardi Gras with your husband, would you be like, you know what would make this Fuckfest 2023 that we're going to have in Mardi Gras just complete? Let's bring our kids with us.
No.
Let's drag them to every fucking bar we can.
Absolutely no.
Well, Mardi Gras is not a good family trip. Manson family.
Louisiana isn't a good family trip. So if you go down in this article about CBS and the gender transitions, there is a section of this for, hold on, I just had it in front of me and then I swiped and it went away.
Is it how to straight people?
Yeah. Shit. Why can I not find this? Damn, I wouldn't have started talking. Oh, in the section titled Guidelines for Supporting a Colleague Who is Transitioning, there is a whole little thing that people have to read for their guidelines for how to support their colleague who is transitioning. The guide encourages employees to be an ally by asking colleagues to let them know if they say or do anything that makes them uncomfortable.
Oh, then it'll be everything. Haven't we learned this by now?
Right.
Where is it a law that you must be comfortable and it's against the law for anyone to make you uncomfortable? Because that's the other thing. A lot of these other, like,
people would argue harassment laws.
A lot of our problems the last decade has been just like, well, I feel this way. What proof do you have? Well, I feel this way. Okay, yeah, we got that. What proof do you have? Mm-hmm. But I really feel this way. Yes, we know. Okay, and it is maddening. Because I'm just... Make sure to ask if anything makes them feel uncomfortable. Who gives a fuck if they feel uncomfortable? Maybe I feel uncomfortable with a dude sitting there talking about the open fucking wound that used to be his fucking cock and balls openly while I'm trying to do my fucking job.
Right. What if it makes me uncomfortable to address somebody as they, sir?
Yeah, what if I'm not comfortable playing make-believe and play pretend and act like there's more than two fucking genders?
Right. Or they, them. What if I'm uncomfortable using improper grammar?
What if I had a 4.0 and see, this is the what about, the impossibly bullshit contrived situations. And anyone on the left who would be listening to this kind of exchange would be going, it's such a bullshit. Yet they turn around and do it for their side in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm saying. Fuck everybody. I hate all of you. Fuck everybody, man. Oh, God.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Leftovers or the DMV
Number 97.
or house cleaning or Chumba Casino always brings the fun. Play over 100 different games online for free from anywhere. You could redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. Live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
What if I'm uncomfortable with somebody dressed as a burlesque dancer, regardless of their genitalia, reading my 5-year-old a story?
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. You know, I keep seeing the same, 2-3 pictures of people with, children in single digits at Hooters. And they're like, explain this, but it's not okay to have... And it'll show, someone 1980s Boy George level drag reading to, Horton Hears a Who or something to some kids that are all sitting there. And I'm like, yeah, if it's that, once again, if it's that, we're fine. But we all know that ain't what the fuck a lot of these are.
Right.
And we've seen the fucking video.
Well, and I said
it. I sneak out, by the way.
And you know what I'll say to these people who post the Hooters pictures? I want to see how you fucking dress around the house during the summer around your kids, because I bet you it's just like a Hooter waitress, because ladies, you got no shame anymore. I noticed this going to Las Vegas from 2008 to 2018. In 2008, you could tell who the professionals were. By 2018, it was getting very hard to determine who the professionals were and who the tourists were. Just saying, ladies. Just saying.
Hey, I'm with people that are like, I think it's tacky to take fucking a bunch of 6, 7, 8-year-olds to fucking Hooters. Yeah, I'm with you. But you want me to be brutally honest? Those Hooters waitresses are wearing more fucking cloth and clothes than 95% of the people at the fucking the public swimming pool. But because it's Hooters, Hooters. Yeah, well, this is sexual, but drag isn't. Just the word Hooters, coupled with the outfits that are really kind of tame and boring looking, make them look like make every chick who wears them look like she got flat mom ass. They are not all that flattering to the backside whatsoever. You automatically assume that's all sexual, and that's okay. But when we see people in drag twerking and giving lap dances to 5 and 6-year-olds, no, that's not inherently sexual. Something's wrong with you for seeing it that way.
Now, she squeezed the barbecue sauce onto my wings from between her titties. That makes it sexual.
Exactly. Did you ever go to Cleveland, Chris, to a place called Dick's? Or have you ever heard of the restaurant Dick's?
I thought it was called Cox, but yeah, I think probably same principle.
Yeah, same principle. You go in, they treat you like shit. They talk shit to you.
Oh no, never mind. Cox was a Hooters takeoff, but just with dudes. But never mind. Go ahead.
No, this is you walk in and they start oh, look at these fucking losers. What the fuck do you fat asses want? Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't have a fucking buffet. That type of shit. When me and my friends, they
was getting roasted.
Yeah, oh yeah. And we went to the one in Cleveland, and I don't think there were kids allowed in, but we were not sat near any kid. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're getting roasted, a buddy of mine thought, because he's still an idiot, and he's not really a buddy of mine anymore, but he thought it'd be a good idea to try to hit on the waitress who was ripping into him. And so she made a.
Do we all know this, buddy?
No, he's never been on the show.
Gotcha.
No, not Earl. But she took this like big sheet of paper, made this big like fucking dunce hat cone, and was like wrote on one side, "My right arm is tired," and on the other side, like, "I ain't had it since it had me." Stuck it on his head and shit, and I'm just like, wow, man. But I mean, like, okay, they knew to like, okay, we're gonna keep it kind of PG or even G, depending on how if people show up with children, and kind of like explain to them, like, this is this type of restaurant. Do you still want to eat here? And if you do, we have a section for you. You're not going to get the full experience. Do you see what I'm saying?
They don't go to kids. Oh, look at this short little bitch.
Yeah, look at you. Look at this load. This should have been a small load. How many fucking coat hangers did you dodge, you fucking piece of shit?
Oh,
yeah,
hey, look at this. Like, it's the strongest sperm, everybody.
Ami really drank with you, huh?
Yeah.
Fetal alcohol syndrome. How are you doing? Can you even understand the words coming out of my mouth? Yeah, I've seen cerebral palsy victims who got more common sense than you. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do the job, but we need someone to roast these kids. Bring them here.
Yeah, I bet your art's real great and doesn't look like it was done by a retarded monkey. Yeah, bring it here. We'll put it on the fridge, asshole.
But that's my point. Like, this shit is like we are agreeing that if it was a Hooters where they were fucking being overtly sexual, even not towards children, but towards the adult at a table where children were sitting, guess what? I would have a problem with that too. This goes back to that. Well, if you get to do it, why don't I get to do it? If you witness someone else committing a crime, that doesn't mean you get to go commit that crime yourself and then you're even. But that's the mentality we're dealing with.
Yeah, right.
At the moment.
Well, he committed murder. I should get to commit a murder. No, it's still illegal.
Well, I really do kind of wonder if a lot of the shit we talk about on a week in, week out basis does come down to just this right there. Just that principle in and of itself.
No, I feel a lot of stuff with racism is, well, it's our turn. I think there's a lot of, like, Detroit now has a reparations committee. This should be fucking rich. When they had their first meeting last week. Oh, the platitudes in the article. Oh, boy.
I'm going to make this prediction. I'm going to tell you this right fucking now. If the city of Detroit tries to pass some sort of like everybody who is a POC gets reparations and it must come out of the suburbs or the state somehow, you're going to see people leave this fucking state who probably would have been like, no, I'll stick it out. They're going to be like, no, that's it. That's where I draw the fucking line. And it ain't going to have the effect you think it's going to have. Look at San Francisco. Look at San Francisco with their reparations shit. How's San Francisco doing? Huh?
Yeah, I just figure with Detroit's history, this should be rich. It should be high comedy. I'm actually kind of looking forward to their findings and laughing uproariously when I read them.
I'm just wondering how much fucking animosity in an already fucking historically, like, hot civil war, I guess, is going on. Like, I don't know how to explain it around here.
Well, I mean, it's been a civil war going on around here for fucking 50 years, man, since the late 60s. It's been, the city versus the suburbs since then, since the riots.
Like, if you go to Boston, like, it's got, I don't know, it's just, once again, we don't need anything more creating animosity between people of different races. Oh, and by the way, idiots in Southeast Michigan and Metro Detroit, it's not just white and black people now. I hope you do understand that. We do have the largest concentration of Middle Eastern people in the world outside of the Middle East itself.
That's right. I go to the meetings.
There's also quite a growing Latino community here.
We meet at a shawarma restaurant in Dearborn. Oh, yeah, Southwest. Yeah. Southwest Detroit, for sure. I mean, it's, as long as I know, and that's where all the Mexicans live. Around here, I mean, my aunt's from there.
So how are you going to explain to people who might be like second, third generation, if that, come here, that, oh, yeah, guess what? Now you got to pay an extra fucking tax fee, whatever the fuck, for shit that happened that you didn't even know this country existed. Your ancestors didn't even know it existed when it happened, let alone any of your ancestors being here being responsible for it.
My people went, well, actually, it wasn't Lebanon. I guess it was Syria when all that shit was going down. And then my other people were fucking up in Canada shooting fucking beaver and shit. I didn't have nothing to do with that shit.
This is what I'm saying. And hey, aren't they just starting to brag about how Detroit's starting to make a comeback, and Campus Martius is one of the best, like, you know, downtown type areas for a major city, and this bounce back Detroit's made in the last 20 years. Oh, good. So let's drive the tax base out.
Yes, that's how Detroit works. I've seen it my whole life. Remember, the Q line was gonna, and what it turned into, the straight people mover, which I saw it at the beginning. Like, this thing doesn't go to the suburbs. You're just building this people mover in a straight line. And what is it?
Yeah, not straight as in orientation, straight as in it travels in a straight line.
Yes.
The people mover, at least, it travels in a circle around the city.
To like 6 places nobody goes anymore.
Yeah, you get off and you walk almost as far as you would if you hadn't taken the people mover.
Yeah.
It might save you 2 blocks. But, you know, in the winter, when it's like single digits and windy, you'll take those 2 blocks being shaved off.
I mean, we've already used the word enough tonight, so fuck it. It's the L train's retarded cousin.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. If we got a memo that we can't use the word retarded, that's fucking retarded, and that's not going to work. So, yeah.
Like, society gave that memo like 10 years ago.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck them retards.
Yeah,
Fuck them up
exactly.
their asses.
Stop acting like a bunch of retards. Anyway.
On the list of things that we're being canceled for, that's one of them.
Just trust me, if we ever got any kind of notoriety, it would be very brief. It's just if people pour through the hours of this show. Yeah. Just because we live in an out of context world. Oh yeah, over.
No. Destroyed immediately, straight to jail.
We'd be like that guy who got hired and fired from SNL all in the same week.
Well, are we moving beyond the trans CVS? I feel like we just talk in circles about this stuff. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
I feel it's like COVID. Like, there's going to be a COVID and a trans section every week. It's just kind of how it is now.
Yep.
Shall we go on to the racism section? Is there one do we have one this week? Or
I just want to say that going back to 2016, going back to Joe Rogan with, I think it was Jordan Peterson's first or second time on Joe Rogan talking about Bill C-16 in Canada, the basically the bill that you're going to have to use someone's preferred pronouns or it'll be a fine. And he was, Jordan Peterson, well, this is compelled speech. What happened? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now look what's happened. How many years later? Jordan Peterson's had to go through online, sensitivity training or whatever the fuck for shit he said in Canada.
Dude,
the country that passed the law that said this isn't compelled speech, he didn't use the speech he was compelled to use, and he had to go through basically a struggle session.
Yeah. In the lifetime of this podcast, the new and old iterations, and definitely within the last 5 years, I have learned that the team that we have been told the entire time was going to be the authoritarians is not. Boy, is it not. To me, 2020 was like an awakening, like as far as like, oh shit, the party of the people is not the party of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the party of the people. How do I phrase this?
Party of the people is the party who is not in charge of the culture war at the moment in the U.S.
That's valid.
So right now, the punk rock, the party of the people, the counterculture party is the right wing. And the left wing, especially the old left wing, the people who remember the halcyon and salad days of Rolling Stone magazine in the 60s and the 70s and shit, is driving them nuts because they still think they're the counterculture. No, you are the mainstream now. You have been for over a decade. If you don't agree with what was considered outlandish beliefs 20 years ago, if you don't agree with those beliefs now, you're considered a fucking like evolutionary throwback. You're a caveman. What the fuck's wrong with you? And it's a very fucking weird thing. It really is. Because for people like us growing up, there was no way the common fucking folk people was the Republican Party.
No, they were the elites. They were the rich elites.
Republican parties were the ones Republican Party was the party who was like your grandparents. Yeah. And if you had money, your parents were always Republicans. And if not, You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like it was very
They were the party
much
of the upper class. They were the party of
and the
wealth.
status quo.
Yeah. The party of religion, the party of conservatism, like not only in political belief, but in like of how you lived your life. And now all of a sudden it's like guns and it was still that too, but yeah, it's the lunch pail crowd when we were growing up was the blue team for sure, and it's switched now. The lunch pail crowd, they're guarantee you somebody works in the trade, somebody who works hourly, they voted for Donald Trump.
Well, dude, I was seeing it a little bit over 15 years ago. This like attitude that anybody who's blue collar, like that was blue collar became a slur from like the college educated liberals, the people we'd call progressives and woke flakes now.
Here you go. Put in their parlance. It was dog whistle for uneducated.
I guess, yeah, basically. So
yeah, and where we're from, that dog don't hunt. Not around here. Blue collar. Even the fucking rich parts of town here, blue collar is the whole reason it's here. Like the old money here is by people named Ford. Like the cars. So yeah, I guess that's why Michigan has been all of a sudden been purple. I guess it's been the shift of the last couple decades.
All right. Well, what else do we have?
Well, you said you wanted to move on to our racist part of the show. Let's see. We have the shooting that happened in Dadeville, Alabama. Mass shooting.
Yes.
So it was a Sweet 16 party where 4 people were killed and 28 others were injured.
And they made 2 arrests today, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old who are going to be charged as adults. And I'm going to go with they're not white because that was nowhere in the article, and I figured if they were in this day and age, it would have been in the first sentence. It would have been 2 white teenagers, 16 and 17. Like, my impression on this was beef with somebody. If you look at where it happened, if you look at who it happened to, somebody had beef with somebody, a couple guys came and shot up a party, and then bounce. Like, you guys keep me honest here. Do you think I'm off? Do you think I'm way off the mark here? Do you think I'm missing something?
No, this doesn't scream at all of any sort of motivation other than personal motivation. Not like they were being targeted because they were black. They were being targeted because of something of anything, or even just like a random act of violence. That's not what this screams of in the story at all.
I think this is going to come back as black on black crime, and this doesn't seem like this should be a bigger deal. A lot of fucking people, 30-something people were injured. 5
people are in critical condition. 5 teens.
Are 4 people dead?
4 people died. 5 teens are in critical condition. It is completely terrible.
Like that's more than Oxford. Like that's more than pick the last school shooting that happened. That's more than that. It's more than the last few.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I want to know what happened to the term just gang violence.
Right? Because I did have this thought while reading about this and a couple other things over the weekend. Like if we're going to start reporting all of that type of stuff, like get used to it. Because where we're from, again, I don't live in the hood, but we're from around here. Like we've grown up around here. Like we've been to the city a time or two. Like if every time more than 2 people get shot at, you're going to report it. Like you're going to be reporting a lot of shit, especially if you're in an urban area. Like by the definition now, a drive-by is a mass shooting.
Yeah, it doesn't seem they shouldn't be able to be classified as the same in my opinion. If you have someone who's targeting me, and again, that sucks. My heart goes out to every person affected by this. I am in no way reducing or minimizing or anything what these people are going through. This sucks. This sucks a lot. But it doesn't belong in the same category.
Well, they got to juke the stats, Jess. They got to make sure that they can say that school shootings are the number 1 cause of death for children now. They gotta
just make everything fucking political.
I mean, that's why this is going to be downplayed, right? This didn't happen at a school. Too, and we'll play both sides of this, of the racism. Wasn't a bunch of white kids who got shot, right? So therefore, we're losing some sympathy points there too, right? And then too, and it doesn't fit the narrative. This wasn't. I guarantee you, this isn't going to be a white male, right? Who was radicalized and sitting on his computer. And,
if you want to guns. If you want to see the real damage that all this type of bullshit has done, all these mass shootings have done, listen to how we're fucking talking about this shit.
Exactly. I sound like a psycho.
This shit makes me sick to my fucking stomach because we walk into this situation, we're automatically walking in with a half a fucking hard on, looking for a fucking issue. Because if it doesn't clearly state that it's a white male who did this, now we're playing the let's guess his race game. Because we know the only people they're going to report for definitively that the race and the gender of is if it's a white male. I mean, that is ridiculous. But that is a byproduct of walking into a room, turning on a television, sitting down to watch a movie, and counting. And taking okay, I see 4 black people, and I see 7 white people, and I only see 3 Asian people, and no Latino people. This is a problematic show here, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a fucking shooting that is obviously a situation where the people who did the shooting have absolutely no regard for fucking civilian innocent life. When I say civilian, I mean people. If this turns out to be some sort of like, I don't know, business deal gone wrong, somebody owed somebody money, somebody's fucking somebody's girlfriend. The point is that when I say civilians, I'm talking about the people who had nothing to do with it. They got caught in the crossfire. How many people were injured in this fucking shooting?
28.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a different animal. It's a different animal. But we're sitting here and we're coming at it makes me sick to my stomach. It really does, man. It makes me just like really hate the news media because I know exactly. I have no idea about this story outside of just hearing about it, like on the fringes of my awareness. But I didn't realize until Chris started talking. I was doing with my interior monologue, I was doing what Chris was doing. I was counting, I was taking notes, I was checking off boxes on a list and shit. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And that is just, the one thing I always go back to when I ask people something, what are you doing? 1, is it working? 2, is it sustainable? I think the answer is no to how we handle all the, like all these fucking issues that are wrapped up in this shooting. And we all know what I mean when I say that. No need to fucking list them all out.
Right. Well, what's the alternative? What's the proper way to handle this?
Should be upset at just the basic disregard for human life, but instead we're breaking it down into we understand Rich's point. We're just turning everything into fucking avatars.
When the trans school shooter in Tennessee, when the protesters or supporters or at whatever the fuck they were calling themselves, went to the Capitol and were including the shooter as a victim.
What?
And this news, yes.
What?
And this news.
That happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you haven't heard shit about it.
I bet you that's by design.
You fucking know it is.
That's?
Absolutely know it is.
Even the episode. That's retarded.
No, that is absolute. The same shit that's being said about that shooter, I was heard said about the fucking, like, around the time of Columbine, and people that were saying that shit, like, that's what happens when you pick on people for fucking their entire life. They snap. And everybody was like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. Well, now it's, well, she, they, him, her, whatever the fucking preferred pronouns of the moment is for this person, is by a small but very vocal group of people is being painted as a victim who is forced to do this. And I'm just going, that's when I'm like, okay, we're on some bullshit now, man. We're defending motherfuckers with this shit.
Oh, I bet.
How did this work with like fucking gang violence and inner city violence and shit? How'd that work out? How's that working out in Chicago?
Right. Yeah, especially over the weekend.
Yeah.
But no, that was just the weather was nice and kids were hanging out, according to Lori Lightfoot. I digress.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but I knew we were fucked culturally wise when I saw the gangsters and the bikers and the dudes who were doing fucking life in prison on 5-year installments started fucking complaining and crying and sounding like the woke flakes that we laugh at on, like, Twitter and Reddit and Tumblr when it was still around. They're spouting the exact same shit. I was like, wow, everybody's a victim now. Like, even of the hardest of the hardcore criminals, no one's just a badass because I was born. The doctor smacked me and I knocked that motherfucker out. And I said, I wish a motherfucker would ever since. No one's just born bad anymore. No, everyone's got a sob story. That's when I knew we were fucked. And here we are. A shooting involving a transgender shooter and people coming out the woodwork to go, it's not this person's fault. Really? And no one's talking about it. By the way, no one's talking about that. Do I even need to say the magic phrase? Do I need to say that if he was white? Do I need to finish that magic phrase?
Nope. If it's a regular white male instead of a trans male, then.
And here's the deal. I don't even know what the fuck. The news doesn't even know how to report this story. Newspapers from the state of Tennessee, articles I've read online, all from different parts of the state, and I know the geography of Tennessee well enough to know that they're from different parts of the state, are using different pronouns. Some are calling the shooter a he, some are calling the shooter a she, some are calling the shooter a they. And I'm just going, this is madness. This is absolute madness. And my question becomes, this chaos is just like, is this a byproduct of our own fucking like cultural psychosis here? Or is this the intended outcome of something a little bit more fucking malicious going on?
What do you mean?
Like Chris said, this shit feels like all this shit feels like it's by design. Every time one of these fucking stories come up and I start reading shit, I'm like, I know that shit gets worded by different media outlets to appeal to their demographic, their customer base as much as possible. Okay, I understand that. But it almost feels like everyone's just given marching orders from the top and they just follow them from the top down now. There's no, how do I put this? There's nobody in the news media who's coming out and challenging the two perspectives we're being given and is being treated as a legitimate person by doing that, by challenging the only two perspectives we're given.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I want a third perspective, because a third perspective will mean we're all unified around that perspective. No, I just want to be able to question the quote unquote official stories we get. And I don't know. Whatever. I give up.
Don't ask questions, Rich.
No, I don't have a fucking answer, dude. I don't. We sit here every fucking week and we do this. And I don't. I have a fucking answer. Everybody's fucked. Everybody's fucking retarded. Everybody's fucking got their head up their own ass and they're self-centered and they don't give a shit about themselves, I guess. I don't know what the fuck else to say about any of this shit. This is every fucking week now.
You're not wrong.
No, I just don't know what the alternative is at this point.
Blow off steam every week and talk about how dumb it is.
Yeah.
So I view this as it's a relief valve. Psh, everything's dumb. See you next week.
It's just like the same cycle of dumb stories with different characters too. You know,
right.
COVID, sometimes Elon, Democrats this, Republicans that, trans.
Mass shooting, racism.
Yes.
And then you'll get one person stand up amidst all this nonsense, all this fucking created and contrived chaos. And they go, trans people have been using the bathroom that they identify as for fucking decades and all this shit. And nobody gave a fuck until everybody had to start throwing shit in everybody else's face. When it stopped being, I'm just going to go in here and sit down and let my balls, my very womanly balls dangle in the woman's room and get up and sashay on out. And nobody said anything. It went from that to, I'm going to go in here and fucking take my womanly penis that you're a homophobe and transphobe if you're not happy that I have and use it in front of your fucking 5-year-old. And you better be fine with that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, look what I can get away with.
People are standing up and going, guys, 10, 15 years ago this shit was going on and no one had a problem with it. Do we have a problem with this, or do we have a problem with these assholes shoving in everybody else's faces and everybody getting into who can be more petty with who? And that's where I'm at. Like, it seems like we come on this show and it's just all we do is talk about a list of stories of who's being more petty to who about some old bullshit. And I'm just, we need to go back old school, man, and have another show where we just don't talk politics for a week.
All right.
And it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck because nobody here watches any of the same shit. Nobody here has any of the same fucking interests besides politics.
That's true.
I don't even know if it's fucking possible. So
I'm participating in the culture now, but who knows if you guys even partake. So yeah, right? Like, yeah, we don't watch like the same stuff. Like, do either of you watch Yellowstone?
No, but I want to start. I hear it's good.
Costner's a G, dude. He's a fucking like that.
What's it on?
Old timey gangster shit. Not really. Just it's on Peacock, and then the new season, I guess, is on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Because digital rights. I don't know why. I'm in season 3. I'm not allowed to watch ahead because my girlfriend won't let me.
Hey, listen, best relationship advice ever. Don't break that rule.
I know. I'm aware. I've met a human lady before.
Oh, listen, we take it to varying levels of extreme, but you don't want to test that boundary.
Made some motherfuckers dig their own graves, stand in it, and then let them go. That is some psychological torture. Anyway.
Okay, moving on with our other racist discussion of the evening, our second and final racist discussion of the evening. Did y'all hear about the New York woman who was driven to the wrong address and fatally shot by the homeowner?
Yes.
Yeah. I hadn't. I hadn't heard anything about it.
It's just now starting to show up because of what's his name, Ralph Yarl in St. Louis. If you don't know about that one, that's the kid. He all right. Here's what I wonder about this, because right now the narrative is, which here you go, there you go, Rich. Right now I have to preface it with that. The narrative is he was going to pick up his siblings and he went to the wrong house. Like, the first question I had was like, was this the first time? Like,
right.
But anyway, because what happened to him was horrible. He got shot through the fucking door. Like, he was. Now, the next, here's another part where the story gets murky. Was he in the house? Was he not in the house? Was he like, I've heard things where it said he was like walking in the house, like no big deal. Like, oh, I've been here a million times. And that's when he got shot. I've heard things where he got shot where he was knocking at the door and he got shot. Like, what?
Yeah, so you're in St. Louis. You're not just going, if he was knocking on the door and he were to just be shot for knocking on the door, that's
happened here in Michigan. Dude's doing 17 years for it. It was 4 a.m. Girl was drunk, her car broke down or something, and she was like beating on the guy's door, and he shot her through the fucking door. So that did happen.
He only got 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, he's already got. Dude, that happened like either while we were in specs or right after we graduated specs.
No, didn't that happen? No, I thought that happened recently, like within the last 10 years.
Unless there was another incident.
Well, you know how this stuff was drug out, like maybe he got sentenced and tried, but several years later.
Who knows? I mean, we're arguing semantics, but the point is like it's happened. I guess I'm being that guy who's going, oh, it happened this one time, but I guess for us it was local. Like, that's why I know about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. I'm just saying like that doesn't make a ton of sense to me, especially like you're talking 4 o'clock in the morning too, someone beating on your door, as opposed to picking up your kid's siblings. I'm imagining the sun was still out, right?
Yeah, but I don't. It's just how I'm wired, and I feel such a shithead. But to me, I just keep that with the narrative, like, you don't know where you're, like, I'm not saying he was up to no good. Let me get that out of the way. I guess that's why I feel like a shithead. I'm not saying this kid was up to no good. But just like the narrative of he's going to pick up his siblings and he went to the wrong house. Well, like, if they're your siblings, I'm guessing you've been there before.
Well, they could have been at a friend's house that he had never been to before.
I guess.
Like, kids make new friends all the time.
I suppose. But I mean,
a new babysitter?
I guess. Again, I guess I'm coming from someone who doesn't have kids.
Oh, I mean, or even they could be a place that the kids went often, and because he was young, right? He was 17?
15.
15? I mean, maybe that's just the first time the parents said, hey, you're old enough, go pick them up.
It's true.
I was wondering if he was fucking high as fuck and it was like some like row house type shit or some like duplex type shit. And he's high as fuck and he thinks he knows he's going to the right door and he walks up to it. And I mean, dude, if you lived in the hood, you know there's a lot of old people with a lot of weapons. I'm just going to put it that way. I mean, like, you break into an old person's house in certain parts of Detroit, you're taking your life in your own hands because you could be coming through a door to a fucking heavily armed civilian. Let's put it that way. So that's where my mind goes immediately. Like, did this guy? Because I just remember my grandmother, the house that she lived in pretty much my entire life, was a duplex, and the city we were in, we lived 2 blocks away from every year where they set off the fireworks. And it was a big deal, and we could just sit in our front yard and watch the fireworks and grill and all this shit. So us, we would have people over. And then, of course, it's a duplex, so the other side of the house belonged to the neighbors. They'd have people over. One year, I'm just sitting there waiting for the fireworks to start, and all of a sudden, this dude just opens the front door of my grandmother's house, walks in, walks right the fuck past me, doesn't look at me at all, not once. I'm staring at this dude as he's walking through, too. Goes in the kitchen, throws something away, comes out with a piece of chicken, eating it, and walks out the fucking front door. And I'm like, I have no idea who the fuck that was.
I get you shot in the hood. Jesus.
And I'm like, well, it was a good thing that I'm like, both my grandfathers who drank and owned weapons were dead at that point because they probably fucking laid daylight through them. But yeah, it took I think it was my mom or my great grandmother going, did someone just walk out of the house? Where's Richard? And I come out of the house like, I have no idea who the fuck that was. Some dude just came in. I didn't even know we had chicken. He just took chicken out. Like,
hey, good news, we have chicken. Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen, something like that. This doesn't sound like that type of situation. This sounds like maybe... See, my mind went to where yours went, Jess. Sounds like dude showed up and he wasn't exactly sure what house he was looking for. Walked up to the wrong house, found the wrong person who was on some bullshit and was like, nope. And also, do we have was there an exchange? Look, here's the thing. From what I've heard of, you've read or told of this story, this is what has happened. Dude takes an Uber?
I had no idea.
Well, he got a ride over there and he got dropped off at the wrong place, right?
I guess so.
Or he could have walked there, maybe.
Oh, did he walk there? Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea.
He walked up to a wrong door, knocked, and got shot and killed. If that's how this story is reported, okay, no offense to whoever brought this story to the group. Why are we talking about this story instead of talking about how shit this writer is for not having more fucking details than that? Because I'm like, why? What happened? I still don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, that kind of goes back to what you were talking about with just the narrative of it, right? Maybe they don't want us to know what happened. Maybe he stormed up to the door and just opened it and tried to fling himself inside while screaming for somebody. Someone came up to him and he said, get the fuck out of my way. I'm here to get whoever. I mean, we don't know. It's all in however the media is choosing to present this to us, and it's a big story. I'm seeing it everywhere.
By the way, I have the most blood in my penis I've had in a while because I've been proven right in real time while recording this show. All I did on my phone, I put Ralph Yarl in my Google search. What comes up? Shooting of Ralph Yarl. Right underneath it, white man accused of shooting Ralph Yarl pleads not guilty. I feel like Ace Ventura now. I'm fucking tired of being right. Anyway, sorry. Just trying to find, I'm trying to find the details. Wounded after ringing the doorbell at the wrong house. All right, so that's what Wikipedia says. Let's see. NBC News says mistakenly ran his doorbell. AP, you're supposed to be the bastion of the middle. Going to the wrong home. That's all it says on AP.
Here's my point. I've walked up to the wrong house on a delivery. I've walked up to the wrong house going to pick somebody up who was drunk or high and gave me the wrong directions or the wrong address, and I was on the right street 4 houses down from where I was supposed to be. Whatever. When I'm walking up to somebody's house, if someone in that house is hostile and standoffish, I'm immediately like, yo, I'm just here for so-and-so. This ain't their fucking house. This ain't? Okay, all right, sorry to bother you later. How does it go from that type of situation to someone being shot? That's what I'm saying. Is there a door cam? Is there a ring cam? I want what was said? Because, I mean, if this dude just walks up, rings the doorbell, and the guy just starts fucking unloading through the door, that's an open shut case as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I guess the only thing the prosecutors got to figure out if they want to go after him on a federal level is if he did it because based solely on the guy's race on the other side of the door, so they can charge him with a hate crime and get him on a federal charge.
Well, because it's Missouri, guess what's come into play? Stand your ground.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be another fun one for everybody. The throwback to 10 years ago and Trayvon Martin. Hey, it's about the 10-year anniversary of that anyway.
We needed a new one, right?
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, we just did about, 15, 20 minutes on Ralph Yarrow, who's fine, which he's going to be fine. He's recovering, I guess, and he's not in critical anymore. But Kalen Gillis, 20 years old, upstate New York, goes to the wrong house, fucking dies. Guy squeezes off a couple shots from his porch, ends up killing her. We are not hearing so much. We're starting to now, because a lot of people are going, well, hey, what about... It's because we love to do whataboutism, right, in this country. But still, like, well, what about that? Because everyone's saying, because, exactly, Google, right? White man shoots, like, well, what about this? Same shit. She went to the wrong house. She's dead. Was this guy racist too? Or how about maybe the common link in this story is two fucking old nutbags with guns? But anyway, yeah. And the guy in fucking New York, when the cops came for him, he got in a standoff with them. Whereas the guy in Missouri at least turned himself in.
Which again leads me to believe there has to be something more to that, because why would you just unload the gun through the door?
Yeah, I understand Rich's point. I feel like there's a lot missing between Ding Dong and shooting him.
Yes.
Unless this guy is just like, I'm shooting at anything black that moves, which I doubt. Like, was he just sitting there with his gun, waiting? Like, there's a lot of questions, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so yeah. And then there's that. But I'm sure if there is anything to the story, if it's not just being blown completely out of proportion whenever, no matter how he showed up to the door, unless he let himself inside, he should not have been shot, but.
I've had people on the other side of a door pounding on it, let me in. I'll kick this motherfucker open, blah, 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 blah. He pretty much, you just, look here, I see any daylight between the door and door jam, I'm unloading whoever's coming through the fucking door. You've been warned, I'm not talking anymore. Keep kicking at your own peril.
Yeah.
And I understand that not everyone's going to handle the situation exactly the same, but I just find it very hard to believe that this dude's just sitting around, chilling in his house, waiting for someone to knock on the door so he can just randomly shoot him through the fucking door and be like, yup, got him.
Right.
Like really?
Finally got one. I've been waiting for fucking 3 years.
Because at that point, that doesn't even sound like it's a racial motive. That sounds like he's just a lazy serial killer.
Right.
Like, he's the laziest serial killer. Like, I want them to come to me, literally. Like, if that's your thing, you only kill people who knock at your door and you shoot them through the door. First of all, I hope you own stock in whatever door company you keep buying doors from. And two, Jehovah's Witnesses and who else, man? Who else are you fucking preying upon?
I have the worst joke, right? Fuck it. Like, he's got, like, the box with the string on it and a slice of watermelon underneath. Nobody?
No, definitely.
Oh, God, Jesus. I'm not even... All right.
I'm going old cartoony racism. Like,
I'm just thinking, who shows up at someone's door unsolicited? Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and you're like, oh, no. He's hunting for a certain type.
Yes.
Like, what is this, the fucking Song of the South? He's going to Brer Rabbit? He's going to put the tar baby out there?
Well, according to this fucking story, he fucking just wanted to shoot a black kid, so I'm running with it. Like, if he's exclusively trying to kill black people, let's fucking go ape shit. I'm sure that's racist too, because I said
didn't we used to fucking, like, hold people responsible if they printed that type of bullshit, fucking pull it out their ass speculation?
I used to. That was before the I Feel generation started running things.
But also, why would he have called and turned himself in immediately?
He's a decent human being, and he realizes he fucking injured somebody. And if he's got a ring cam, that shit's on camera. Well, you're going to see the video. Here I am.
That's just how I'm saying. Like, I don't think it was a super nefarious act if he called and turned himself in. Like,
well, look, I can imagine quite a few scenarios that end up with two dudes screaming at each other through a fucking shut door, talking shit to each other. I'm just like, how does it escalate to where someone pulls the trigger and shoots someone through a shut, locked door?
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Dr. Dow from a few years ago. Sir, we're going to ask you to move. No. Oh, yeah? And then they shoot him. Like, no, I'm with you, Rich. There's a lot of dialogue missing. Like, I just, or this guy, like I said, he's a racist nut job who's just sitting there with a gun. What, somebody's coming in? Wham.
Well, I mean, if he's an old white dude, let's speculate here. He could live in a very bad part of, he could live in like East LA or not LA, excuse me, East St. Louis, some shit, whatever. And
I grew up here, I ain't moving.
Yeah, he's just too poor. He's got no place else to move. And yeah, those type of guys, they don't tend to be very fucking big fans of people who don't look like them in those type of neighborhoods. My thing is, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just thinking, like, how do you live in that type of neighborhood and it not be known that, you know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that there's a motherfucker who's old, white, crazy, and he's got guns and he's looking to use them and he lives there. Like, there's just so much of this story that's just, dude, I'm telling you, I've lived in the hood. I ain't gonna say I'm from the hood, but I've lived there long enough to know how I could see this dude showing up to pick up his fucking his siblings, and 15, right? That's young, snot-nosed 15-year-old, mouths off, disrespectfully. Hey, send out so and so. Tell them motherfuckers I'm here. Whatever the fuck. Old man, won't talk to me. Blah blah blah. So they start talking shit back and forth. Old man, half senile, pulls out a gun, blows a hole in his own door because I want to shoot someone on the other side of it. So that makes the most sense to him.
Go on,
he's that far fucking gone. Yeah, that's some fucking Yosemite Sam shit.
Yeah.
Man. That's some cartoon shit. But I can see a situation like that. But I feel like 10 years ago, this story would have been like, you know, witnesses said they overheard loud exchange between the two parties. Something, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just going to speculate and kind of like throw up in the air like, well, one's white, one's black, so you know what that means. Ellipsis.
Yep, because 2023. I just want to
see,
if we're so racist, how the fuck did we have a black president for 8 years? Does everyone forget that?
Going back to when you said, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this shit feels like it's fucking by design, Jess, is what I'm talking about. Like, shit makes no sense. None whatsoever. How inflammatory is it to write an article that is basically just like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and make like implications and, you know, well, we all know what I really mean. Mm-hmm. And then sit there like butter wouldn't melt in your mouth when shit pops off. And, well, who could have guessed that people in tempers were flaring that high? I have no idea. None whatsoever.
Well, we have one more serious, and that is this new UN legal recommendation. Basically,
I feel could you expound? Because I felt when I was reading this article, I felt like they were trying to like connect a lot of dots, and they weren't really saying what exactly was said. So can you help decipher this for me?
Yes. So in this article, they were actually interviewing somebody who is what would be considered a right-wing extremist, right? And this person was saying it's been the plan the whole time to legalize sex with children, which is a big talking point on the right-wing extremist side of it, right? In terms of like drag shows and Epstein Island and all of that. What the actual, and I have this pulled up in a different post because it was in the one I sent from Fox, but this has bigger quotes and it's more kind of well put together. What it actually says about it is sexual conduct involving persons below the domestically prescribed minimum age of consent may be consensual in fact, if not in law. And then you go down and you read more, and this is all in this, it's a law recommendation. It's like this, not a bill that's being written, to my understanding. It's just the legal recommendation from the UN is how I'm understanding this. Sexual contact involving persons below, I just read that, never mind. The enforcement of criminal law should reflect the rights and capacity of persons under 18 years of age to make decisions about engaging in consensual sexual conduct and their right to be heard in matters concerning them. Pursuant to their evolving capacities and progressive autonomy, persons under 18 should participate in decisions affecting them with due regard to their age, maturity, and best interest, and with specific attention to non-discrimination guarantees. So it's just...
Whoa, dude, maybe I'm a right-wing extremist. You could parse that a lot of ways if you wanted to.
Right?
Like, maybe if you're a pedophile.
Yeah, it's just taking that goalpost and just sliding it a little bit back, just introducing it a little much. We're not saying that this is right. We're just saying that they should be able to talk about it. We leave age out of it. Let's look at their maturity.
See, yeah, but we also don't have like a consensus age of consent across the board here in the U.S. or even like in Western society, really, do we?
No.
So, I mean, like, this is...
What you think we would?
Well, this is... To me, this sounds like the UN doing, like when the UN come out and they were like, we declare internet access a human right. And, like, the world went, okay, so what are you going to do about that? Well, nothing. It's just we've declared it's a human right. Everyone should have internet access. Yeah, and everyone should probably have a 10-inch cock, too, but they don't. So what the fuck are you going to do about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting the feeling like this is just... But how much of this is also due to cultural? What is the term I'm trying to think of? Like where you can't judge another culture, even if it is like if their cultural norm is something that's absolutely abhorrent in your culture. Like there's a sociological word it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
I don't.
UN's good for it. Basically, it's like you don't. Like it would be Eurocentric. You're seeing everything through the lens of a European. You're not seeing things through the lens of someone from, Asia or something like. Well, whatever the fuck. Does that make sense? No.
Yes. Ethnocentric.
Ethnocentric. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, but
you could do terrible things with this law in Thailand.
I don't even know at this point. Like, what is the point? What is the point? I don't get this. Please, we have three people of three different ages, three different fucking statuses as far as, whether we have children, how many children we have, all that good shit. What is the point of like constantly pushing to lower the age of consent?
I
don't see a pragmatic point that it needs to be continued to be lowered.
I feel, and I also think, I said it, that, it's come up a lot, well, not, a few times on this show, that, a lot of times, I guess, when you are, homosexual, usually an adult is the one that helps kind of teach you about it. And I think this is kind of putting a guardrail up for that. Mm-hmm. I think this is like wokeness fucking starting to disappear up its own ass and folding in on itself. You want to be so accepting that you're now willing to be like, oh no, a 12-year-old could be like, nah, it's cool. I wanted him to do, like.
Yep.
But ultimately that goes back to, okay, so what purpose does this serve? Nothing but get a pedophile, for a pedophile to get his pedophilic itch scratched. That's all. That's the only pragmatic reason to do this. What comes out of it? What benefit comes out of this?
So,
because bear with me for a second. Because I used to say this, right? Isn't it kind of hyperbolic on humanity's part to be like, well, when do you start shooting loaded rounds as far as being a man, and when do you get your period as far as being a woman? Well, that should be the age that you should be able to have sex, right? To anything else is you're saying, no, nature, we know better than you. Or if you're religious, no, God, we know better than you.
I mean, I feel that's what I said in the chat. I feel kind of dawned on me. I think that's kind of what trans people have been doing for the last, no, nature made a mistake. No, I know better. No, you gave me the wrong parts, nature.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you want to go into the conspiracy side of things, something people have never really stopped talking about and some people still really hold out hope for is Epstein's client list. So if we can just go ahead and push the age of consent back and just say that they all consented before this comes out.
Oh, man, you had on a tinfoil prom dress tonight, huh?
I do. It's my Wednesday night attire.
Dude, I'm just client list. It's going to be like Bugs Bunny, fucking Deputy Dog, other cartoon characters nobody our age would even know.
Probably.
Well, like I said, to me, this just smacks of the UN trying to, I guess, set the pace and tone of a global conversation. And I mean, I don't know, man. I all I can go by is what I read online, and it sounds like most other countries, cultures are looking at us right now going, U.S. is fucking fucked up. They don't have no idea what the fuck they're doing right now. They're arguing about bathrooms and pronouns and horse shit.
We don't even know who the men or the women are.
So I don't know. I don't know if this needs to be a global conversation. It doesn't seem like, I mean, I don't know. And like I said, I believe I said it last week or the week before, but one of the things I've noticed is that, especially online, the people pushing for the woke flake bullshit, the so-called progressive bullshit, they've done a really good job of attaching traditional gender roles to boomers and, everything else to the young, all the non-binary they themness. Oh, that's the new hotness. That's us young folks. Old folks only worry about male, female. We fuck whoever we want, and we say we're at whatever we want. They've done an excellent job of marrying those two things. So it's like I said, it's just, to me, this is a lost cause, because it either in 10 years, what's going to happen is that this fad phase in American culture is going to fade away and go away, or we're going to have basically a new man-made third gender wandering around in 20, 30 years. I don't think we're going back to just, Mother Nature, male, female.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, no, but think about it, man. I mean, really think about it. What the fuck? What historically can we look back at and point to this transgender, the transgender, the whole questioning the age of consent? Because here's another thing that blows my mind. The same people who wanted to lower the age of consent half the time want to make it you got to be 25 to join the military because your mind's not done developing till you're 25. What? Explain that to me.
But you should also vote at 16.
Yes. So you should be able to have sex with basically anybody that you choose to at 12, 13. You should be able to vote at 16, but you can't drink, smoke, or join the military till you're 25 because your mind isn't fully formed. Oh, and you can also choose what gender you are or aren't, or just invent one, and then force people to fucking go along with it, even if it's detrimental to your mental and physical health. And you can start doing that around 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Why not?
Science.
Go nuts.
It's just it's madness. I can't this isn't and like I said, I just think back to my parents bitching, when I say my parents, I mean my parents' generation, boomers bitching about gay people and stuff, and it's let me just ask you a question: could you imagine choosing to be gay in a world that hates gay people? And that pretty much fucking smacked some fucking reality into people's faces. This isn't that these people are I'm choosing to be transgendered and you have to respect my choice. No, the fuck I don't. If there's a biological, neurological, whatever reason for something, I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt and I'll go along with it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You have a condition, you have something, whatever. If someone goes, no, I wasn't born this way, I choose to be this way, we're at the point where it's you have to go along and play along with my made-up bullshit.
Yeah.
And now we got the UN going, hey, by the way, have you guys considered fucking children at a younger age than you already do? Yes, thank you for throwing kerosene on that. Kofi, or whoever the fuck is running the UN at this point. What Dave Chappelle said? Go sell some medicine, bitches.
Yeah, that one was. It was a very surprising read the other night because I went and looked it up. I went and looked up the actual language, and I'd have to go to. It's a link saved on Instagram. I couldn't send it to you guys from there, so I had to go try to find the closest thing just to put in the chat to know to talk about it, because you can't just find the link to the actual what the UN said. I wonder why. Wonder why Google isn't letting me just search that one.
You have your safe search on.
Yeah.
So didn't I tell you guys how many like pages back I had to dig when I was trying to find that story about Elon Musk and that BBC reporter for last week? It was like 3 pages back in the Elon Musk news. They covered the exact same interview in different articles, but they didn't mention him fucking calling the BBC reporter out in it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I'm like, wow. Tell me this isn't on purpose. You can't convince me that a corporation who's got an algorithm that can show me shit that I've been thinking about, haven't even voiced an interest in yet. I've just been thinking about, and it's picked up on that somehow by what I've been looking at or whatever, that it doesn't, whatever. Mm-hmm. Tinfoil hat. Yep, I'm wearing my tinfoil 3-piece suit. Yep, whatever.
Going to conspiracy prom tonight.
Right. Let's end with something fun.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be Gen Z. And they are traveling more, even though they're saying they don't have money. Yeah, Gen Z doesn't have a lot of money, but they're traveling anyway.
Well, because you're young. You don't have money when you're young. Anyway, continue.
Let's see. Gen Zs aren't easing into the travel market. They're exploding into it. Despite their youth and comparatively low income, more than half of American Gen Z adults are frequent travelers, having taken 3 or more leisure trips in the past year, according to the data research company Morning Show.
Stop fucking right there. 3 or more leisure trips in the last year. The last time I went on a leisure trip was 2016. Before that, 2014. And then before that, when I fucking went on vacation with my parents, like the year I graduated high school. Just like 97 or some shit. Like, those are the last 3 trips those are the last 3 leisure trips I've taken.
Okay, but what counts as a leisure trip?
Like something where you're going, hey, I'm going on vacation. Okay, then there might be a couple others in there. But they all weren't within a calendar year.
Right, but like, what if you just like go out of town to your nearest, like for me, what if I went to Nashville for the weekend? Does that count as a leisure trip? Because it wasn't for work.
I would say so.
But that doesn't have to be an expensive thing that I do, especially if I'm going with, like, let's say I have like 2 girlfriends. So I got both of my girlfriends and we decided to go split a hotel room in Nashville, go out, have like 2 drinks and come back. We split gas, but we're all paying $150. $200
just for the gas. I'm saying what I heard $1,000 easy.
$1,000? How do you travel?
What, you're going to Nashville for a weekend? Are you not eating or drinking anything?
Just for a weekend. Just go stay at a cheapo hotel. Let's say it's what? $100 a night. Okay, so I said the weekend. I was thinking like 2 days. So 2 nights at that. That'd be $200. Cheapo hotel. We're all splitting it. So we're still under $100 each for that.
Yeah, remember gas.
Gas to get there,
and then food back. And drinks. The food and drinks should fill out the rest.
Right, but like that's not for $1,000. Have you seen how girls eat?
I bought booze in bars.
Right, but like let's say that you go out and you just have like 2 seltzers.
And I guess too, I'm not saying each. I'm saying like for the trip. I'm saying that's $1,000.
Okay, so then if that's split between 3 people, then that's less than $350 a person.
All right, last time I checked, $350. That's still a lot to be just tossing around for fun.
That is half of a Costco trip. I'm
gonna come live with you. You got shit to eat over there.
What? Yes. Yeah. Costco takes all of our money. But no, I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about trips like that, I'm not going to put that in the same category as, like, if they're going to Italy.
Well, I guess is airfare involved? That's my thing. If airfare's involved, you shut down the argument about, it's cheap.
Airfare can be cheap.
A cheap airline ticket is $100.
I can get a round trip ticket from Atlanta to Detroit for $46.
Before all the taxes and shit.
I don't know anything about the taxes. I don't fly. You don't have to worry about me just showing up.
With an airplane ticket, throw on 25 to 30%, whatever the price says, because it'll be called for taxes and fees.
Man, I'm just listening to you two, and I'm just like, you two are so painfully white. How the fuck? I did all, okay, outside of non-work related traveling, I'm confident I've traveled more than both of y'all. Like, outside of non-work related traveling, take that away from Chris. I've tried, and you know when I did most of that travel? When I was broke as a motherfucker. Now, granted, this is when gas was like, 89 cents to like $1.50 a gallon, but I mean, like, I think it's a valid question. Which type of traveling are we talking about? Are we talking about that type of traveling? 4 people, a joint, a fucking a CD booklet, or a joint? You know what I'm saying? 4 people, a bag of weed, a CD booklet, and $30 for gas. That could be a fucking that could be a road trip, quote unquote. But I wouldn't consider that traveling, and that's definitely not what the fuck you two white motherfuckers are talking about. But you fucking, I swear to God, you sour cream citizens fucking just constant, man. Like motherfucker, like broke people don't exist that just go, hey, I got $5, what you got? I got 10. Don't you know that's how most people end up in prison for robbing a bank? Hey, man, I'm broke. What about you? I'm broke, too. What you got? I got my 9. I got my 45. Shit, let's do this. All right. Next thing you know, where are you bringing it? Oh, you're bringing Marcus Burger King? I'm going to prison. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Yeah. So, come on, man. I'm just saying, like.
Well, Rich is just bringing up my point even more, Jess. Continue.
Well, I'm trying to find how they traveled.
Because if they traveled like I'm talking about, that's just you're spending your food money on gas for the day. That's not traveling. But I considered it traveling. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ended up halfway across the state. Slept in my car. Woke up with a hangover and a seat buckle imprint on the side of my head.
I think the article is saying they don't travel.
No, I get that. But and it's almost impossible to travel like that now. Let's be honest here. Like if you go, like I could almost 25 years ago sleep off a fucking drunken in almost any public park as long as I wasn't an asshole about where I parked. Now I don't think it works that way. I just don't. So I think if a cop saw a fucking car with like obviously not abandoned sitting in a park in the middle of the night, I'd probably get woke up to like 5 cops in fucking tactical gear. Get the fuck down! Get down! I'd be like, oh shit. The fuck, like I'm about to see some shit go down until I get hit with the butt end of a fucking rifle.
You see, they're not. The only thing I'm seeing being said about where they may travel is they're interested in experiencing new cultures. So
okay, now that's okay. That's white people travel. That means you want to get on a plane and go do some shit. A place speaks a different language than you. That is usually, unless you live near a border, it's going to cost you money. And let's be honest, if they're living near the Canadian border, it's not like they're going to they're not going to Quebec talking about how they experienced all the culture French Canada has. And yes, I know I said French Canada. That's on purpose.
Yeah, it's not saying if it's like car travel or.
Well, if you live in Dayton, you're not driving to Akron to experience the culture. Because it's the same.
I think it's just, it's a difference in. I think the creature comforts that are expected for the average person, Gen Z, we probably didn't have them same levels of expectation when we were their age. You know what I'm saying? The day-to-day creature comforts that Gen Z have.
When I went to L.A. with the singer from my band, we stayed at a Days Inn in a seedy part of Hollywood. Pretty sure they shot a porno in the hotel that we fucking stayed in. We had to walk by to the subway. We had to walk by a fucking heroin encampment. And yeah, I believe our trip ended. We were going to Ralph's and buying refried beans in a can because we were down to that's what we could afford to fucking eat. So yeah, I get what you're saying, Rich. Like but I believe in this article there's talk of airfare and hotels and yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like these motherfuckers are like, we travel, and it's like, oh really? So like when you put in your backpack. No, I gotta check baggage because first class. What? So that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I guess my point is like, I'm just like, I don't even. I can't even relate to this. I can't relate to the idea of I want all my creature comforts day-to-day shit to be fucking taken care of to the point where I never have to worry about it. By the way, I'm still under 25, and I want to be able to travel like that and not worry about it.
And again, I feel like I make this point every time we do this kind of story. Like, stop telling me you don't have any money when you're going on trips that cost a down payment of a house.
Or there's the other thing, learn to do what we did. If you're going to act irresponsible, you're going to have to learn how to worry about it, but still be able to act irresponsible.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to fucking do. It's the equivalent of if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. You know, if you're going to be stupid with your money, you better learn how to fucking, you
better learn how to extreme coupon.
Think something. But yeah, that is, and that is something also that I'm starting to like see and understand, I guess, completely, is that if you're under a certain age, I don't think like the vast majority of people under the age of 25 ever worry about a world where the internet isn't available 24/7, 365. And I'm just like, I know we've talked about it before. I know this makes me sound like old man yells at cloud, but I'm just like, shit goes down real easy for a whole lot of dumb reasons, man. And the more dependent we become on this shit, like, it's just the generational difference. They fuck being comfortable with technology. Like, our parents thought we were too comfortable with technology. These motherfuckers want to be half cyborg over this shit.
Dude, my 19-year-old nephew is amazed that I know about that I lived in the world before the internet. He's like, well, yeah, you lived before that. Yeah, dude, it wasn't that tough. Like, it showed up when I was in high school, man. Like, it was,
not even that long ago.
Yeah.
Getting a job. I haven't had to show paperwork until like recently, because it's like now everything's like, okay, we don't have a digital. We don't have it on file digitally. Like, you can bring us a copy of, like, your birth certificate or your social security card, like a Xerox copy or something, whatever. We need the digital copy. And I'm like, it wasn't even 10 years ago, all you wanted was a fucking Xerox. That's all you needed. Now there's a fucking there's a digital copy of my info floating around out there, which, by the way, makes me so comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been to the fappening.com. Private information is never leaked. Ever, right? Especially like pictures taken on a cell phone, right? Sorry.
Yeah, I still, like I told you guys, I have my little secure my identity being stolen check on my refrigerator.
I say go ahead, knock yourself out. I'll know about it in seconds. And I'll shut that shit down.
Well, if you got it like that, then you almost want someone to do it just to test to see if you're getting ripped off or if they're as good as they say they are.
Well, no, I don't even pay for that shit. No, it's just the only thing I care about is my money, and I have alerts on all my bank accounts where more than 1 cent moves. I know about it. Like, that's all I need to know. Like, the end. Everything else, I was fucking. Oh no, I can't vote. Ooh, like, I'm worried about my money. It's like that's the thing that affects my day to day. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get a new driver's license. Nuts. Right? Like, dude, I got to hand it to the Michigan Secretary of State. I changed my address fucking I changed it on Saturday. By Wednesday, a new one was in my mailbox. So, yeah, I don't give, I'm like Chris Pratt when he says with Twitter, someone pretends it's you. Go ahead. Have fun.
Enjoy. No, I see the Gen Z argument for travel now. While I'm not really talking about like taking a flight to Greece in spring and Italy over the summer and Cabo in the fall. If they're under 24 years old, most under 24-year-olds now live at home. So why not? Why wouldn't they? The article also points out that their spending has been pulled away from things like fashion and items, like brand name things.
Rent they're not paying.
Well, they're under 20. That's common to live at home under 24.
Well, no, Jess, I hear what you're saying. Why not? Make hay while I get it. Make hay while the sun shines. I guess the rub on me is like, stop saying you don't have any money. Stop saying how broke you are. First of all, you're under fucking 25. You're supposed to be broke. You're under 30. You're supposed to be broke. You're supposed to be establishing yourself in your career. And it's a good trust me, the way I acted I should not have had money I think I had the right amount of money in my 20s.
Yeah.
The decisions I made in my 20s, I think any more than that might have ended up in a facility of some type some type of program.
Yes. Before you're allowed to have adult money, you have to have adult common sense.
Perhaps have a bankruptcy, an additional divorce. Anyway, just stop. It's fine if you're doing all that, great. But you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, we do all this but then, oh, we're so broke. Like, which one is it?
So what?
But doesn't this go once again back to like compare? Like, this is all based on Gen Z and going, this is what we're doing. What did other generations do? Did they have it easier or worse than that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because Jess, you said something about like most people these days, 25 and younger, probably still living at home, right?
Right. Let's
be honest here. Most people probably around our age, between the two, the oldest and youngest person on this show, probably be like, hey man, get the fuck out, get out on your own, blah, 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 this and that. But here's how my mind works. If the parents are going, look, here's the deal. The world isn't set up for you to do what we did, to go out and buy a starter home and then like within 5 years have another home and then within 10 years have another home and then within 10 years of that have your retirement home /home that your kids inherit. So, I mean, if it's like part of a plan, you stay home, you save money, blah, 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 blah. When we leave, we sell the house to you on a land contract. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Then I can understand it. Then, yeah, you know what I'm saying? If you're sitting at home and all you do is go to work and come home and you want to blow off steam, then, yeah, maybe, grand 1,500 once a year, go out and do something. I can see that. But what are the odds that situation is exactly that specific?
Not that I think that the article was really just pointing out that they're prioritizing travel over other things that other generations prioritized.
Well, then stop bitching that you're not getting. If you have different priorities, stop. I guess my thing is stop bitching about that. You can't. If you're prioritizing different things, then you're not allowed to complain that you can't afford other things.
Well, okay, but I am going to argue with you about that because the cost of living right now, no matter if you can afford $2,000, right, once a year to go on a vacation, or $1,000 twice a year, right, $2,000, that's not going to change that you can't afford a $2,000 a month place to rent. It's not going to change utilities. It's not going to change the food prices. It's not going to change gas prices. It's not going to change any of it.
We're all living in the same cost of living.
We are all living in the same cost of living, but again,
the people you're mooching off of are living in the same cost of living you are.
But you're talking about how in your early 20s you're supposed to be broke, and they are because they don't have the experience to have gone through jobs, developed their career, developed their resume, developed their experience, and they're where they're supposed to be. It's just you can't move out now at that point in your life, like when you're there. Whereas when
people
we were
always
younger,
find a way to do things they want to really do.
Well, then I guess the answer would be, Chris, that we are in the middle of a cultural shift to where we're going back to that. Like it's not ideal, but it's not a shameful family secret that somebody, that the son or daughter had to live with their parents until they were 30. Like, we're still going to feel that way because we were raised however we were raised, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Blah. But people younger than us, they're just looking at us like, we don't give a fuck what you think.
Oh, yeah, Jess, if you were north of 21 and you lived at home, the L word started coming out. Loser. Oh, for sure.
But see, that's another thing too, is that and this is very anecdotal because I can only speak to my experience and what the people I talk to, say. But we're raising kids right now and looking at the cost of living, looking at how unrealistic it would be. Like if one of my kids were 18 today, if they wanted to move out, would they be able to? And parents are starting to do more things to prepare, I guess, for their kids to be home for a longer period of time than what the expectation was on us for when we would be leaving home.
I know a 19-year-old who just moved out. And guess what he did? It's something I brought up on this podcast like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's like him and like 4 of his friends.
And I'm hearing you, but that doesn't mean that everybody has 4 friends who are willing to do that. I'm glad they were able to. But that doesn't mean, and that they even wanted to.
I am so sick of that argument. Not everybody, well, then what are you supposed to do? Just give up? Like, well, then I guess I live at home forever. Like, I'm not attacking you personally, Jess. Like, it's just
No.
But hold on, because all right. Even within the same family, different children, the same parents can have different attitudes about as far as moving out. Okay, when it comes to like my brother and I was 17 and, my stepmother, his mother, and yes, I know she's my stepmother, but she's not my wicked stepmother. You know what I'm saying? It's not that type of situation. And she was in my life from when I was like a little kid. But she was like, okay, you 17, hit the road, Jack. Later, enjoy it. My brother, she absolutely was like, if I'd have let him walk out the door at 17, like you walked out the door, he'd have been returned to me in a pine box in less than a year. So you got to take that into consideration too, man. Just saying. Like, not every situation is a 1-for-1, comparison.
So I'm hearing here. Prepare your kids better. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've set the world on fire. I'm no fucking winner out here. But at the same time, like...
You're not a shrinking violet in the face of adversity.
There's a level of, I better make this work somehow because there's no cavalry coming over the hill to rescue me. I don't know if my brother has that in him yet.
But I'd like... Here's the thing. Like, I instilled that in myself. Like...
Yeah, when I left home at 17 and was told, don't come back, I was like, I took that, okay, that's not a negotiation.
Well, I'm saying I never had my parents go, all right, no more money. Like, I never was told, hey, you're cut off. It's time to be a big boy. Like, I eventually, like, the door has always been open. Like, if I'm in a bind, like, I've instilled it in myself. Like, no, like, I should be able to figure shit out on my own. And, like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just doing 1-to-1 comparison. Like, but I feel like people used to do that. Like, just instill it in themselves. Like, be self-sufficient. Like, I guess too, I'm coming from a place from like, if everybody I fucking know, like, we went through this in 2020. If everybody I fucking know died tomorrow, that's it. It would be, we're back to you. It would be that's it. It's me. No cavalry's coming. How would this work?
It's just, yeah, you're right. But I don't know that it's necessarily just an instill it in yourself whenever you're younger. I think it's also a peer pressure thing. So whenever you have your friends that are moving out and everyone wants to go hang out at that person's apartment, or, you're 20 and living at home and dude, are you never going to move out? Like, are you just going to stay with your parents forever? We're getting close to the L word being thrown at you. Like, you have that, but now it's much more socially acceptable because people are looking at the cost of rent. No 24-year-old can afford a house right now. Like, that's a joke. So you're looking at that and it's, yes, I still live at home and I can go out on Saturday night and get a burger and a beer with you. I can go out and see a movie if it comes out and I want to, because I'm not just stuck in this slum apartment that I'm renting with 4 other people that I don't like.
Then how come the narrative is I don't make enough to save enough? Like, I'm living at home till I'm 30, but the narrative is I'm never going to make enough to save enough money for a down payment. Well, which is it? So I'm staying at home to save money, but I can't save, like, what are you doing?
Okay, but let's say you made the decision to stay at home till you were 30. Mm-hmm. And you made that decision when you were 25 years old. And that was 5 years ago. And we're just watching the cost of everything absorb every bit of additional income you can make through your career.
What do you mean?
Well, like look at what things cost 5 years ago versus what they cost now.
Okay, and look at what things cost like when I was a kid versus now. I mean, things adjust.
They do, but if you made what you make now 5 years ago, you would feel high on the hog, I'm assuming. I don't know anything about your finances.
I'm making what I made 5 years ago right now.
Well, then I'm in your boat. Well, close, but if you have a plan for staying at home to save money and then the cost of everything goes through the freaking roof, that's going to affect your plans of staying at home.
But if you're staying at home, your bills are under $1,000 a month. What are you paying for? A car, insurance, your cell phone? Like your burger and the beer that you go out and have with your friends? Mom and dad are paying all the utilities. Mom and dad are paying the mortgage. What are your bills?
What do you mean? A car? That's upwards of what? Like $700 a month?
It depends what you drive.
Okay, but hold on, because we're getting way lost in the weeds here. I think a lot of this is also maybe it's just as a generation they're just not as fucking bold as we were, and like I know I keep going back to like the creature comforts, but I mean like when I left home at 17. Between 17, when I left home in December 1994, and what was it, August of 2000, when I got my apartment here in Michigan, I think I slept on a bed maybe 6 months out of all those years. I you know what I'm saying? Like I squatted, but not like, you know, broke into a house and squatted, but basically stayed in a makeshift commune for a summer. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Dude. Shit that people that nowadays, I can't imagine kids doing, because the minute they don't have their Wi-Fi, it's game over, man.
Oh, I can't imagine some of the younger millennials or Gen Z kids going through some of the. I'm thinking about it now. Some of the places I live between my folks' house and now, like no fucking way. Like I lived in a lot of. I think about it now, like as now, I'd be like, no, I'm not fucking living here. No.
I have another spin to put on this too. Whatever you're talking about Zoomers, it's the oldest Zoomer is born in 1997, which would make them 25.
Yeah, I'm talking about 18 to 24s when I'm talking about Gen Z.
Okay, so you have someone who's 24. Let's just say 24.
The college kids right now.
Sure. The oldest one out of that group, 3 years ago, whenever people were losing their jobs left and right for being non-essential workers, they were 21. So they might be less bold to step out and take a risk because their professional experience, their adult experience of I can go and I can get a job outside of just,
if you're about to say the last 3 years, no way. The job market is the job seeker's oyster the last 3 years. No way.
No. I'm just saying that could be playing into why they are hesitant to make moves where they're out on their own and something could grossly affect their credit, like not being able to pay rent, being kicked out of something, not being able to pay your utilities, because what they saw was right whenever they were of the age that we're talking about of moving out, whenever, I mean, I know y'all were younger whenever you moved out.
Well, I feel this is where the phrase life is not a spectator sport would apply. Like, oh, you saw some bad shit happen? Well, guess what? If you're 21, a lot more bad shit's going to happen if you're going to live to be at least 71.
But it does show it rubbed the volatility of everything kind of in their face during a formative time for them.
Look, here's the deal. It's hard for me to have much sympathy for the millennials or Gen Z when they're like faced with, oh my God, how daunting of prospects for life we have and all this shit. Literally, when we were the generation, they're like, yeah, you're gonna be the first generation that's gonna do way worse than your parents. It's gonna suck. Sorry about that. We fucked up. Hopefully, we'll course correct by the next generation or generation after. And it's like, well, what good does that do us? None at all. But we're really genuinely sorry. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry for millennials that your parents lied to you and told you that you were going to do better and you were entitled to more than you fucking actually have. But you were lied to. Okay, you need to stop being mad at the world for the world doing what the world does and be mad at the motherfuckers who lied to you about what the world actually is and what the world actually does. And I feel like a lot of this is Gen Z is sitting here going, watching millennials, because you got to remember the oldest millennials could very well be fucking parents of kids who are just getting out of high school in Gen Z right now.
They're like 41, 42.
I mean, so think back to relate to Gen Z as us Gen X related to our boomer parents. And that's what they're looking at. Like I'm going to say this. Like I know it's like let's shit on the younger generation. I'm not all on board on shitting on Gen Z yet. I know it's fucking real low-hanging fruit to pick articles like this and be like, oh, they're stupid. And it's like, yeah, they're stupid. They're young. We get it. That's kind of why, when you go through that shit, what'd you say? You can't get adult money until you make adult decisions or whatever the fuck you said earlier?
Yeah, right. You have to go through can't have adult money whenever you don't have adult maturity.
But I mean, like, when I actually deal with younger people, they got some fucked up ideas about some shit. And I'm sure that anyone who was our age when we were their age and talked to us thought the same thing about us. But I gotta be honest with you, I ain't hearing the same bullshit I heard for fucking 15, 20 years from the millennials. So I don't know. Like, I think Gen Z's pretty much looking at the millennials and they're going, yeah, we don't care what you tell us. We intuitively know, like an animal knows when a bad storm's coming, that this ain't going to go well for us. Fuck y'all and your feel good at all cost all the time bullshit. I swear to God, I think that's where it's going. I think when all's said and done, Gen Z is going to be probably as cynical, if not more cynical in a lot of ways than Gen X was.
Well, will we get the good music?
Someone going to create a new genre? Because I don't see how we have absolutely gone up our own asses, Ouroboros, eating our own tail multiple times with all the genres that are popular. Unless we're going to throw it back over 100 years, something pre-swing, we're going to have to come up with new genres.
Ragtime.
Yes, we're going to have Zydeco's making a comeback. Buckwheat Zydeco is going to be fucking doing the big tour, and he's going to be touring the Sheds this summer, guys. They're bringing back the Warped Tour, and he's going to be headlining. him and the corpse of Ravi Shankar. Yeah, there we go. But
Buckwheat Zydeco, also a nickname for my dick. Oh, you thought we were going to get one without one, didn't you, Jess?
Right at the end. Slid it in right at the end.
Oh, and then a bonus one. There it is. A twofer. All right, well, do we got anything else?
That was it.
Go out in a surprise dick joke. All right. Well, hit us up on social media at Gen Exhausted Pod. Yeah, I guess while Twitter's still there. I keep hearing Twitter's burning down, but I open it and it's like crickets. It looks like the same Twitter I've opened for fucking 9 years. But yeah, so Gen Exhausted Pod on social media. Go to ChristopherMedia.net, where if you'd like to help us out with the commerce, hit the PayPal button. And wherever you listen to us, if you could rate us and review us, we would appreciate it, because that's how you help other people find the show. I appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Later, guys.
See ya.
It's the truth that I love and war. Worlds collide and hearts get broken. I wanna live like I know I'm dying. Take up my cross, not be afraid. Is it true what they say? The words are weapons, and if it is, then everybody best stop stepping, 'cause I got 10 in my pocket that'll bend your lock, and I'm tired of all of these walkers saying, come with me. Wait, it's just about to break. It's more than I can take. Everything's about to change. I feel it in my veins. It's not going away. Everything's about to change. Creeps in like a thief in the night, without a sign, without a warning. We are ready and prepared to fight. Raise up your swords, don't be afraid. Is it true what they say? The words are weapons, and if it is, then everybody best stop stepping, 'cause I got 10 in my pocket that'll bend your lock, and I'm tired of all of these walkers saying, come with me. Wait, it's just about to break. It's more than I can take. Everything's about
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.